The Finns are home today, and maybe a favorable crowd will help aid in getting the job done over Buffalo. The outcomes have been rather gloomy. Mike McDaniel weighs in.
I've been on both sides of a division rivalry that has skewed one way or the other. Being on both sides, you learn to be very, very careful not to care at all about whatever that is. Why? Because these are two different teams, even from earlier in the year.
It's been a difficult year for the Dolphins, and playing a team they haven't beaten in, let's just say forever, looms rather large over the team's collective heads. Team captain Alec Ingold talks about keeping things positive.
A lot of us, when adverse times hit, when the results aren't happening, you kind of dial your focus into your job, what you can control. I think as a leader, the challenge is acknowledging the people that are doing a great job and making sure you're encouraging and bringing them along, leading by example as well, and then being bold and convicted in things that you don't want to see anymore.
The moment has arrived to talk about this one. It's Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar, Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions and 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And good morning, everybody. And welcome on into another edition of Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside my co-host Alejandro Solana. What's going on, buddy?
Tobin, I don't know what's going to happen today, but I know we got a lot to talk about, man.
It's been a while. Obviously, I was not in the last edition. I was in Tennessee, which, you guys did a valiant effort. Shout out to Josh Appel for pinch hitting while I was calling some fights. But, Thursday night football prime time. What'd you think was going to happen? Here we sit at 2-7. We got the Chris Greer era is over. There's trades that happen. There's trades that didn't happen. We're still getting rumors as of this morning of things that were part of all of it. So, let's dive into all of it here as the Dolphins are getting ready for their Week 10 matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Brittany Rodriguez producing for us here today. Hello, Brittany. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You feeling good with that Canes win yesterday? Were you satisfied? Was that up to snuff for you?
Nothing matters anymore, so.
Listen, that's a fair point. That's what it does feel like. Hey, listen, at least we got a Francis Maui Noah touchdown. That's fun.
How exciting. You know what I would like more? Do you know what I like more? An ACC appearance, an ACC championship appearance.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
You can't have it all, Brittany.
Oh, sorry.
If we can't have that, we can have CC Maui Noah scoring touchdowns. That's what we deserve. So here we are, Solana. Week 10, Dolphins are 2-7 upon what feels like a new era, kind of, or the latest chapter. We get the news this week that, Chris Greer's on the outs, and the Dolphins had a lot of rumors that were out there. There's one this morning I guess we could just get into right now.
Yeah.
Because it involves the two teams that are taking each other on, and that was that the Miami Dolphins and Bills were supposedly in a negotiation for Jalen Waddle. The Bills were offering up a 2027 first-round pick, maybe something in change for the 2026 draft. The Dolphins wanted that first-round pick to at least be in the immediate upcoming draft. Ultimately, they did not get to it. Jalen Waddle was not dealt, but this seems very much like an interesting thing that the Dolphins were sitting here. Could you imagine, though, giving Jalen Waddle to Josh Allen? I mean, I really feel like, I know people don't say take the best deal no matter what, yada, yada. All right, cool, dude. I couldn't imagine having to face him twice a year with Josh Allen as his quarterback.
there's so many things that I want to criticize the Miami Dolphins for over the past since firing Chris Greer, Tobin. I thought that was the right decision, but since then, there's so many things I want to criticize this organization for. Some of the trades they did not make is part of what I believe they deserve criticism for. This year, they deserve praise for. Champ Kelly, McDaniel, Stephen Ross, whoever the hell decided, I don't care what Buffalo offers us. We're not sending our best player to Josh Allen so that they can continue to terrorize us for another 5 years together. This was something that the Dolphins absolutely could not do, and they deserve praise for this, Tobin. I mean, it sounds like a relatively easy decision. Like, no, we're not doing that. But still, like, they just constantly make so many mistakes that this probably felt like something they would have done. Now that I'm reading the tweets, I'm like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did this, and they didn't. So for all the things I'm going to criticize them for, I'm going to praise them for not trading Waddle to Buffalo.
It would have felt like Wes Welker to the Patriots, but like on steroids. No. It would have been such a disaster. Yeah. Would have been such a disaster if that did happen. But this is the position they found themselves in. I do, wonder going into today, because we'll get into every topic that there is, but this team has pretty much been dealing with chaos since the start of the season. This matchup in particular is just in a spot where, look, chaos, no chaos, best circumstances, worst circumstances. They don't beat this team. And, we saw the videos last night. You got all those idiots at the elbow room from Bill's Mafia who are going to be in the building. I don't know. I don't know even under the best of circumstances if I would have liked the Dolphins to win this game. I really don't know. I'm seeing all the concerns. The line has kind of fluctuated throughout the week because the Bills once again have a lot of injuries on defense. I got to tell you, Solana, I feel like that's always a storyline going into these matchups, that the Bills are going to be depleted on defense and the Dolphins just can't take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we know that. Like, they just haven't been able to beat Josh Allen. It doesn't really matter what the circumstances are, right, Tobin? I mean, you could argue outside of one victory that Tua has against Josh Allen, the best this team ever played against them was on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago, and the Dolphins still lost by double digits. Skylar Thompson might have had the second best opportunity to beat these guys in a playoff game, and I believe they lost by double digits in that game too. So it doesn't really matter what the circumstances are. Buffalo shorthanded on defense. Buffalo shorthanded at the running back position. They're going to find a way to beat the Dolphins because historically that's just what they've been able to do with Josh Allen.
It's also going to be just fascinating to see what the tenor of the team is, right? Because like you lose the game to Baltimore in very just disappointing fashion, and you play terribly. And now you have this circumstance where, like, all right, you have the changing of the guard finally. It feels like that the organization has finally acknowledged, all right, we got to make some big time changes. What those are, there's a lot of stuff to chew on. But how does the team from just in the locker room and in the hub of getting ready for a game, how do they handle all of that? Is this a rallying point? Is this a place where they can gather together and put together a better performance? Because, I mean, that performance against Baltimore was just so embarrassing to see the miscues, the turnovers, everything that it's already hard enough to beat that team, but to just basically give the game on a silver platter was so embarrassing.
What's fascinating to me, Tobin, is like the idea that, hey, these guys are playing for one another, and clearly they don't feel like Mike McDaniel has lost the locker room. So are they rallying together for the head coach so that he can save his job? Like what are these guys playing for? I don't know. And Crowder kept telling me something throughout the week. I think I'm getting the expression right, where he's like, what's the carrot in front of them? Like, what is it? What's the carrot? And I think what he's trying to say is, like, what are they reaching for? What are they striving for right now? And he's like, truthfully, it's personal gain. But Tobin, like, can that be good in a sense where everybody's trying to play for their futures? Everybody's trying to prove to the ownership group or the next general manager that comes in, like, hey, I belong on this team. You should bring me back. You should pay me more money. Can that be good in the sense that everybody's playing at their hardest? Like, I genuinely, I don't know. I have no idea. Will Mike McDaniel continue to be played hard for? Like, I have no idea. It's fascinating, and it's crazy that our first test, our first look at it, comes against this team.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, who are the guys that are like Devon Achane? We know that the Dolphins would love to keep Devon Achane around, or they're going to trade him for a lot of assets. Everybody else is pretty much a first or second year guy, like Patrick Paul, Kenneth Grant, Savai. They're not going to pack it in. They're obviously trying to prove themselves. Like, I feel like the one guy that they probably did have in that situation is gone. I mean, they traded Jalen Phillips, so I don't know how many people are even in that position. So it's going to be a fascinating thing to see here today as we get ready for Dolphins and Bills from Hard Rock Stadium. Gameday Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Get offers on select models for a limited time. We'll take a break here on the program. When we come back, we'll get into a little bit of the loss and the fallout from it. Man, there were a lot of paper bags. I mean, it was embarrassing to see that. Al Michaels just mocking us left and right. We'll take a break here on Gameday Uncensored. More to come. Back after this.
I'm Mario Cristobal, head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. Congratulations to WQ.
We'll love.
And welcome back, everybody. It's game day, uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM, which is also brought to you in part by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana. Brittany Rodriguez producing for us here today. Chris Perkins going to stop by the program. Coming up next hour, we'll talk to Perk. Omar Kelly will stop by the program around noon, a little hour before kickoff. So we'll check in with our guys and get some more breakdown as the Miami Dolphins take on the Buffalo Bills here in this Week 10 meeting. Next week, they will travel to Spain. I believe we're on at 7 a.m. That will be our coverage point for this matchup next week against the Commanders. But task at hand, we'll get into this Bills game. But before that, we'll take a little look back at the Dolphins' last loss, Solana, 28-6 to the Baltimore Ravens in what was just a true embarrassment on national television or on Prime, whatever. But man, I marvel at the way this team is able to lose games. It really is something. The amount of turnovers that they had, the mistakes, got screwed on some calls as well. But what really stood out to you about that last loss?
What stood out to me is that I wasn't surprised at how bad they played. And I mean that's just, what this season's really been about. Like they sucked in the second half. They couldn't do anything in the second half. And, it was the same story once again, where you can't figure out why Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa can't put points on the board. Like, shout out to Riley Patterson, man. My take on Riley Patterson keeps getting better and better, even though he missed a field goal this season already. But the only guy putting up points for this team. And then, immediately you get the Chris Greer firing the next day. So you don't even really get to focus on what happened, but it was just, it was the Dolphins on prime time again. And you're watching Lamar Jackson, a guy you feel like you could have had, just dominate you again on your home field.
Reminded me a little bit of the Bills loss last year at home before Tua got hurt, where it just felt like you kept setting up a team that already didn't need help in like just such easy situations to score. Because it was funny, Solana. I'm calling the fights last week in Tennessee, and so like there's like a little bit of a break as we're switching over, and so I take a little peek at my phone and I see 21-6 Baltimore, and I'm like, oh my God, what possibly happened? Like how bad could it have been? So, the fights end around midnight Central Time. I'm just going to basically stay up till I got to catch my flight the next day. So I throw on Amazon Prime. You can go watch the game on demand. And I didn't have any info on how they had. I just knew that they got their butts kicked, but I didn't know how the game had unfolded. And just seeing how it unfolded, it would have made me so. That's definitely would have been a reach for the bottle night. I couldn't handle watching the mistake after mistake after mistake. Yeah. It's just, I marvel at their ability to lose, but also just the way they can lose in just the most cataclysmic, outstanding fashion.
The Tobin, the game against Buffalo, now that I think about it, is actually a pretty good comparison because, I mean, it's not the same. Tua goes down in that game and your season was done last year, but you're watching this team on Thursday Night Football and all of a sudden Chop Robinson goes to the blue tent. Then Ollie Gordon has to leave the game. Like you can't just lose. Your players are getting hurt. But man, there were a couple plays that just drive you absolutely effing insane. Taj Washington, first reception, fumble. Like, come on. What are we doing? Jalen Wright, Tobin, Appel and I spent an hour talking about three-headed backfield. Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, and Devon Achane. Look how well it worked against Atlanta. Mike McDaniel, I played sound from McDaniel 3 times of him talking about the benefit and the value of having a three-headed backfield. And this is, this makes us so versatile. And then Jalen Wright's inactive. You finally put your guy, I have to throw you under the bus a little bit, your guy, Taj Washington, in the game.
I know.
The first time he touches the pigskin in his entire career, and you're going to cough it up? Like, what? But then, of course, the Ravens, their second touchdown, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Dante Trader Jr. colliding in the middle of the field as Mark Andrews gallops into the end zone. The old lumbering Mark Andrews scores 2 touchdowns against us. Yeah.
Now he catches it.
And then the most frustrating thing of all, 4th and 1, Dolphins go for it. Larry Borum is flagged for false start, and McDaniel torched Larry Borum as he walked back to the sideline. Yeah, but then didn't bench him. Just put him right back in the game.
Who's he going to go with? Yeah. Who's he going to go with? He's like, What do I got, that Brunskill? Who do I got over here?
But of course, instead of the Dolphins converting, my guy Riley Patterson misses a chip shot after the penalty. And then Tua throwing the back shoulder fade to Devon Achane against the tallest DB on the field with the shortest receiver on the field, and it was nowhere near Achane. And like that's what you muster up in a must-score situation to try to save your season. It's just despicable, man. Despicable.
There was also that 4th and 2 where Tua just airmailed it going for Achane, and just McDaniel just looked disgusted. Yeah. He was just like. He was
but explain, Tobin, genuinely explain that decision to me. Explain it. 4th and 2, a minute to go in the second quarter. It's 14-6 at this point, I believe. 4th and 2, you're in decent field positioning. How does Tua decide to throw a back shoulder fade to the shortest guy in the field? Like, explain this to me.
I can't. I can't. I don't have explanations for a lot of stuff this team has done this year, but it felt very much like watching that game, because that was like you saw it all start to unravel, and then obviously you come into the second half and they put the stake in the Dolphins pretty early, and they just spent the rest of the game just crowd shots, Stephen Ross shots. And then finally we had the Chris Greer. I don't know how Chris Greer kept doing this, where he was always hiding. Like he had this window where like you could only see half of Chris Greer. He's had this masterful tactic for a while where he's able to mostly hide from the cameras, but it looks genuinely like he is hiding. But they go to Stephen Ross. He's looking upset. They go to Dan Marino sitting next to Garfield. Is that the new son-in-law? Is that who was next to Stephen Ross with the glasses? Is he going to be the big man in charge who's sitting there?
I think so. I didn't see anybody confirm that, but I just assumed that's who it is.
Yeah. I just assumed it as well. And then dude, the fans were so rightfully pissed, and the crowd shots of the fans being pissed. Yeah, I felt like the decision was going to be the next day. I thought McDaniel was going to get fired. You guys know, I didn't think Chris Greer was ever going to get fired.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised that was what the fallout was, because he was he was coaching almost not well, but he was coaching from like an emotional standpoint that made me feel like if we lose this game, I'm losing my job because of just the reactions that he had. He was so done with the team.
You think McDaniel's surprised he still has his job?
I don't know, because I don't know what the back politics are here with who. Look, typically when it's come to the Miami Dolphins, it's led to who can win the blame game. It's never you're all fired, get out. It's usually whose fault is this? And Stephen Ross is going to listen to somebody, and typically it's been Chris Greer. And I think he finally got to the point where he's just like, well, I can't. Mike McDaniel feels like he's, at least for the time being, won that little battle. So I don't know. It was crazy.
Hey, Tobin, one more thing from that game that I wrote down that I wanted to run by you. And at halftime, right before the first half ends, the Dolphins have the ball. I think it's at the 50-yard line, but it might have been like their own 49 or whatever. But they're at half field. And there's a second left on the clock. Tua doesn't even attempt to throw the ball into the end zone. He just he just took a dive. And you hear the broadcast crew, like Al Michaels is saying, well, he's not going to be able to reach this, is he? Yeah. And it's just so obvious at this point. Everybody in the stadium, everybody on both sidelines, everybody watching on TV knows Tua can't make that throw. And then Tua himself is letting you know, yeah, I can't make that throw. I'm just gonna fall. I'm gonna fall like a little duckling here, and we'll just end this half and we'll get it over with. You have a quarterback on the sideline who can reach the end zone from midfield in Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers. I don't care which one. Take your pick.
Sure.
Why not in that situation? I'm not saying replace Tua. Like we'll talk about that later, but I'm talking about in that situation specifically. That situation. 1 second left. You're down. You're down. You want to try to reach the end zone. Maybe you get a pass interference. Maybe you get lucky. You catch the Hail Mary. I mean, crazier things have happened. Why not take Tua out of the game for that play and bring Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers in? Whoever. Take your pick. Shoot. Put in Malik Washington. I don't care. Whoever can make the throw. Because it's embarrassing that we're just fine. We're satisfied with a quarterback who can't make the throw, and he's not even going to attempt to make the throw. Like, why not play situational football and bring in somebody who can?
I don't hate it. I didn't really think about it at the time, but my guess would be McDaniel just doesn't trust his other guys too. He just figures they're going to throw a pick. And if you are the guy that brings them in and then they do get picked off or some disastrous play happen, then you look super a fool. And that's the only thing. But I don't hate the idea. I'm just saying, like, that's probably his logic on it.
I just don't get it. Like in the NBA, you have one guy who's 7 feet tall at the end of your bench that never gets any playing time. In this case, the Heat have Vlad Golden. But if at the end of the game, you're up 1 and the other team has 0.4 seconds to try to win the game, what are they going to do? They're going to throw the ball towards the rim. So what do? You bring all your tallest players, 1 guy to guard the inbound and 3 guys to build an effing wall, like Stan Van Gundy said. It's situational. And if Tua's not even going to try to make the throw, well, then bring in somebody who's going to try and who can reach midfield.
The fans were losing their mind. I mean, like, that was it. They were so done at that point. And it was marvelous. There was one guy who put a popcorn bucket over his head. That was, he's just like, so he didn't even have the paper bag. He goes, I'm going to make a paper bag, popcorn bucket. And then the Dolphins had to like deny, because Tony Gonzalez and Richard Sherman were like, Stephen Ross left early after they got down 28-6. Like, no. He just moved down to the field. It's like, whatever. You knew he left his seats in disgust is probably what they meant.
He knew though, right? He knew there wasn't going to be any skedaddling down to the sideline in that game.
No,
like, they knew,
not in that game.
They realized.
And Jordan Brooks was furious afterwards. I mean, like, he was sitting here just like, he's so mad about the turnovers. And I really was like, oh man, this is where the team finally is torn apart.
He seems like the only serious person in that entire organization.
Oh, I agree with you. Because he was even asked this week, like, the Dolphins did the move where they've decided to take the Dave and Buster's out of their locker room. They have no more Pop-A-Shot and no card tables. And Jordan Brooks is asked about this, and he's just like, he doesn't even want to talk about it. He's just like, no comment.
But
like,
he's the only one. He's the only one that did the no comment. Everybody
Right,
else like was just like, yeah. Patrick Paul was like joking about it, but like he's the only serious person in that entire locker room. He's like, don't ask me that. No comment.
He probably has never even looked at the Papa shot. He's probably just been like, no, I'm not, because he's just, thinking about tackling people at all times. He's probably thinking to himself, how did I not get traded? Nobody wanted me.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to pick me up. Oh, man. All right. So obviously the fallout from that was the end of the Chris Greer era. We'll come back here on Gameday Uncensored and get into that. They finally did it. They finally parted ways mutually with Chris Greer. So we'll hear a little bit of the reaction from that. And what the hell does this mean for the organization? I mean, part of it's going to be good things. I would hope. It can't be worse. But the fallout from Chris Greer and the Miami Dolphins finally parting ways. We're back with more on Gameday Uncensored after this.
I'm Khalil Ware of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on this move to FM.
1 in the 3-0. Roof Hotline.
Your favorite shows, the games of your favorite South Florida teams. We've got them. Catch us on FM 104.3 or listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Don't miss a thing.
Now, let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana getting you ready for Week 10. Dolphins, Bills, AFC divisional matchup as the Dolphins will be at home today. I saw a lot of the Bills fans at the elbow room, as they are traditionally there to do. I hope that our Panthers were nowhere near there. They don't need that stink near them.
Hey, how do you feel about that, Tobin? Look, man, no shade to elbow room. We love going there, and I know, that's like ground zero after the Panthers win a title.
Yep.
There's just always great vibes. So no shade. Make your business. But also hosting Bills Mafia every year. Like, don't they have to draw a line somewhere? Either you're South Florida's bar or you're not, right?
I understand. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't like it, but, what are you supposed to do if a bunch of idiots want to spend, money at your establishment? Are you supposed to turn it down? They're going to go somewhere.
I guess,
They all kind of herd together, jumping through their stupid fire tables. So, they're easily tricked. You might as well just, you might as well take advantage in that spot. As long as Kachuk and Barkov, I know Barkov was at the Heat game yesterday.
He was, yeah.
So, he was at least nowhere near that. Panthers lose last night for those who did not stay up. They lost to the Sharks 3-1. So Chris Greer's brother got revenge on South Florida.
Don't worry, his time will come soon. Once that contingency of young players doesn't pan out, his time will come soon.
Yeah, so we get the news on Friday. I was driving back from the airport, and I was listening to Alex Dono filling in for me with Leroy, and the news was there that Chris Greer and Stephen Ross mutually decided to part ways. That is what the statement said. Stephen Ross said, "This morning I made the decision, along with general manager Chris Greer, to mutually part ways." Very already weird wording. I have incredible respect for Chris and his family. I want to thank him for the many contributions to the Miami Dolphins over the past 26 years. And he's strong. As I assessed the state of the team in my discussions with Chris, it became clear that both of us, that change could not wait. We must improve in 2025, 2026, and beyond. And it needs to start right now. Champ Kelly will serve as interim GM effective immediately, and we will begin our search for a new general manager. I want to thank Champ for stepping up and his commitment to the Dolphins' success this season. There's a lot of football left to play, and we all need to fight even harder. This is crazy. I've always been and remain committed to building a winning team that consistently competes for championships. That's laughable. I am incredibly proud of our leadership as an NFL organization and continued commitment to the community, but our performance on the field and our team building process have not been good enough. There are no excuses. I'll thank the fans for their continued support and passion for the team. Please renew our internships. You deserve a championship caliber team that you can be proud of. There's much work ahead to return the Dolphins to sustained success, and that work begins now. Finishing the season strong, evaluating all areas of our football operation, and moving forward with a clear vision for the future. Signed, Big Boss Ross.
Well, I mean, we got I at least what I wanted. Like, I wanted accountability at some point. I wanted it last year. Really, I wanted it before. But we wanted somebody to be held accountable for the fact that you're 7 years into a rebuild and your team is in a brutal situation and you're getting run off the field on Thursday Night Football. Tobin, you were talking about the fans and how just miserable it was. What the camera shots of all the people he had to do with a popcorn bucket on his head. Stephen Ross, I think, that to me is what really gets to the owner. This idea that people canceling their season tickets and people aren't showing up to the stadium. I really have a hard time believing that that's the case, because at the end of the day, the NFL is just, it's more than a game, like it's embedded into culture, into society in the United States. People are going to go to these games no matter how bad the Dolphins are. Yeah, I do.
You still think that there's still a waiting list? They said that I think there's still a waiting list. I'm like, there is? Like, I feel like it's like a, open table. Like, you're like, you make a reservation, but you have no intent. You're just like, take me off that list. I'm not going to the Dolphins game.
Nah, I think the Dolphins are different. The Hurricanes, like you saw yesterday, they lost 2 games, and they're still probably going to win 10 games this season, and the stadium only has 37,000, 40,000 people. The Heat, if they go through a rough patch, a Tuesday night game against whoever, the Hornets, is going to be, light in the 400 section. We know nobody goes to the Marlins, but man, the Dolphins is a different type of experience. So I don't buy into that. I know other people do. I know there's a big movement on social media, cancel the season tickets, and like, hey man, you do what you got to do to send the message you want to send. But to me, the stadium being 70% Ravens fans, you hear the cheers every time the Ravens do something positive. And then every time you see a Dolphins fan on TV, they either look miserable, they're bitching about something, or they've got a bag over their head. That's the stuff to me that gets to Stephen Ross, where he's saying, what's happening here? What has my building become? The building I've put an exorbitant amount of money into has become a destination for opposing fans to come mock me, mock my team, mock my organization. I really think that's what got to him, and somebody had to pay the price for that being the situation again on a primetime game.
Yeah, it was. I think I'm just surprised it ended up being Greer. I just felt like Chris Greer was just had this, like you say, if you're with somebody for 26 years, that speaks to something that you're able to just sustain. Obviously, I believe he deserved to lose his job. I just never thought that anybody would win a at least partial power struggle with him as far as blame was concerned. And that doesn't mean that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job. The reports there are kind of all over the place. And we'll get into that in just a second. But here was Mike McDaniel. This was his reaction to the Chris Greer news earlier in the week.
You come into work on Friday, and, my focus was cleaning up the things that went wrong from the Baltimore game and getting a head start on correcting those things moving forward to Buffalo. Mr. Ross told me directly. And, I prioritize the idea of not spending any time thinking of things that could happen from that standpoint. So, I took the information as he delivered it, and heard him. And, for me personally, Chris is a guy that I've worked with every day since I've been here. So personally, that, I'm a human being, and whether it's football or it's, life things, that's an emotional toll when you realize that, all right, things are going to be different.
All right, there you go. Weird.
Too early to re-listen to that stuff, man.
I can translate that for you. Whew! That was his answer. That should have been his answer. Just get up there, wipe his brow. Whew! Has just never thought that. I didn't think it was going to be me.
Hey, what happened to Quirky McDaniel, huh? I mean, bring out the quirks. Bring out the quirks the day after the GM gets fired.
He's got no jokes anymore. He's got no jokes. He's just got 5-minute answers, claiming that he's only focused on the Bills. That was his go-to this week. Alec Ingold, team captain, fullback, runs deep routes way too much. This was his reaction to Chris Greer parting ways.
Chris has spent better half of 2 decades, almost 3, in this organization trying to build a winner, and obviously that it hurts whenever you don't get to finish a job that you started somebody with. So it's tough. I think you have to do right by your job, your organization, your team. We all signed up, and obviously he was a big part of that, bringing a lot of us in. So I think we just got to do our jobs and wish the best for him, and thankful for the years of service that he had to this organization, and do right by that.
Yeah, well, he didn't do right by us, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you've been pretty solid, Alec Ingold, but you're one of the lone players it seems like he signed that didn't have a bad injury past that was going to creep up and bite you.
Hey, can I be honest? I like Alec Ingold. Good dude. Good community guy. Like, genuinely great dude. Can we stop going to Alec Ingold for everything? Like, next GM, find somebody else that could be the person the media always goes to when there needs to be like one big question answered. Well, let's go get a good comment from Alec Ingold because he's gonna be, he's gonna offer great perspective and he's well spoken. Like, I'm tired of hearing from Alec Ingold every time there's a saga going on in that locker room.
Who are you not tired of hearing from though? Like, who's the person who just genuinely brings comfort?
Jordan Brooks, because he says no comment. I don't want to deal with that. That's how everything should be dealt with right now in the Dolphins locker room.
Do you think that, like, what do you make of where we stand with McDaniel now? Because, like, one of the things that I'm worried about is we're again going to go into one of these halvesies cleanings that Stephen Ross always loves to do. And there was a lot of stuff that came out afterwards that was saying, like, McDaniel, he's definitely here through the whole year, maybe even past this year. Tua's not going anywhere. McDaniel's going to be through here. And it's just like, so, like, we're going to just do this again. He's now the guy who has more influence. And, like, what is that with Stephen Ross? Like, he doesn't have the stones to just get everybody out there and start from scratch.
Omar told us, I think earlier this year, maybe last year, at the end of last year, he's like, Stephen Ross doesn't like the hiring process. And maybe it's as simple as that. Maybe he just doesn't like the process of having to interview people and having to hire people. And man, I don't blame him. He's really bad at it. Like, he literally hasn't hired one good person since he's been here in terms of to lead the franchise. I mean, think about it. Every GM under his watch has kind of been a disaster, Tobin. And every head coach that has been hired under him has kind of been a disaster too. Mike McDaniel has had the best success out of any coach, which is saying something. When the decision was made and McDaniel kept his job, in my head, I said, okay, he'll ride out the season and then you make a change, right? Like, that to me seemed fairly obvious. But then with the lack of moves that were made at the deadline, I don't know anymore. I don't know if this is going to be one of these situations that you just described, which is commonplace in this organization. No, the next GM has to understand they have to give Mike McDaniel their fair shot, which I think is a brutal situation to be in for another GM because, in my opinion, this organization, this roster needs a complete overhaul. Not just, hey, we're close, we're going to go draft some more people to fill some more holes. Like, I want a full shakeup of the culture, the identity, everything in this organization. Like, get rid of all of the stink from Chris Greer, all of it. And to me, that includes Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, and I just don't know, it's hard to get a read on them doing anything normal because they're not normal. Like, that's Like I feel the genuine consensus would be, yeah, you hire the GM, the new GM picks somebody. And, even with this Champ Kelly thing, like, is he there to audition, or does he really got a leg in to do this thing? And McDaniel, because McDaniel's had like a weird tenure as it is with just kind of blending in with everybody. Like they gave him Brian Flores as defensive coordinator the first year. Then they were going to Fangio. Like he went through this rotating door of defensive coordinators, and so like now it's like, oh, well, now we'll get a GM that really blends philosophies with them. But it's like, wasn't that what Chris Greer always did? He always just kind of did what the coach wanted. Obviously, he was a terrible talent evaluator, but I just feel like this whole era needs to be eradicated. It just needs to just be wiped off. And even the stuff I'm seeing this week about like, oh, Tua is going to be back, and we'll get more into that. But at what point do you just realize it's over? It's over. It's been over. And it's time to accept that. I don't like that it's over. I don't like it. I was, held firm. I was like hopeful that this was going to do something this year. But it's plain as day. They're just a bad football team. Totally. And I don't understand what he's done to exactly skate here, because not only is the team bad, but probably the biggest indictment is they play bad. And how is that not just a huge red flag on the coach, whose team, as his talent has gotten worse because he loses proven veterans and now he has to develop people, nobody can get developed and the team plays worse. So why exactly does he get to stick around here? Because he put 70 points up in a game one time? I'm just confused by it.
Because the owner likes him? Honestly, Tobin, is that it? The owner likes him?
He doesn't spend a lot of time with him? Does he not have to hear these meandering press conferences? Because I swear, if he listens to one press conference in the middle of the week, he'd be out.
It's why Chris Greer had his job.
Yes, right? I get that. I understand that.
Honestly,
nice guy. Yes, I get that.
It doesn't have to be deeper than this. You're in your car right now. You're at home, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, why do these guys have their job for so long? I mean, nobody in the NFL can figure out why Chris Greer hadn't been canned years ago. Nobody, at least at the end of last season. And now, I mean, look at every single NFL prognosticator that is looking at the Dolphins situation and saying, yeah, that's going to be impossible to turn around. Part of it is Tua Tagovailoa's contract. I get that. But just in general, that's going to be impossible to turn around. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of hits in the draft to turn this entire ship around. How did Stephen Ross not realize that before it got to this point? And I really think, Tobin, it's as simple as this. He likes his guys. He likes his guys. That's it. And he has more patience than he should with his guys. And it's a dumb-ass way to run a professional organization.
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored and get a little to the trade deadline this week. Jalen Phillips was sent out. Others were not. Why? Take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. More to come. Back after this.
I'm Nikola Jovic of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its
Auto Parts.
This is Game Day Uncensored on WQAM FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
The Buffalo Bills will be in Miami Gardens today to try and do what they've done for quite some time. Beat the Dolphins again. The Fins will have to step it up big time. Mike McDaniel on his message to Tua, who along with most of his teammates has been struggling.
It's not a secret sauce of anything. You don't need a secret sauce when someone's game that you're asking them to put forth is not only something they're good at, but something they've successfully executed on over time, and just bringing it back to the nuts and bolts.
And Tua says lots of frustration over all the losses to the Bills.
You know, we haven't beat Buffalo since first year Mike has been here. So we look at this as like, we got to win every time we play Buffalo. That's kind of how we look at it. I don't think you can look at it any other way. And for us as a team, you know, collectively this year, we got nothing to lose. We got to go all in with this.
Another game where it's not going to be easy for the Dolphins. And unfortunately, they failed almost every week this season. Can they get a win over the Bills? Well, we're here to figure it out on Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, Omar Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome on in, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana, hour 2 of our coverage here of Week 10 of the NFL season. Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills getting set for action from Hard Rock Stadium. Should be a beautiful day out there today. So if anything, you guys can enjoy that while you're getting sloshed, and hopefully the Dolphins aren't getting absolutely demolished by the Buffalo Bills. Chris Perkins is going to join us later on this hour. We'll talk to Perk, get his thoughts. Omar Kelly will join us later on in the program. And Game Day Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Get offers on select models for a limited time. Hopefully the Dolphins can maybe deliver an early present. I don't even know. You know, I saw Seth Levitt from the Fish Tank ask this question on Twitter just a mere few minutes ago. Like, do the Dolphins even want to win? Like, what do we want right now? Are we hoping, like, did you watch Mendoza yesterday and you're just like, you know what? Jets are taking on the Browns today. I don't know if anybody's going to be worse than the Saints. But you're watching them. The Titans already got Cam Ward. Are you watching this and hoping that you could – are you already in tank position, Solana? Where are you at on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the tank. I'm not going to be upset if the Dolphins lose anymore, but I do think there are a couple outliers. You play the Bills, you play the Patriots, you play the Jets. I want to kick their ass, man. I don't want to lose to the Buffalo Bills again, honestly. And I just think it'd be the funniest thing in the world. Bills Mafia's down here. Dolphins just fired their GM, and they own us, man. Josh Allen owns Tua. You know what's going to happen today, but somehow the Dolphins win this game. Somehow, some way, they muster up the post Greer fired game that we'll all remember where they beat Buffalo at home. It would just be hilarious if they did send all the stupid Buffalonians back up to Buffalo in tears. I don't want to lose to the Bills. I just don't. I never do. I'll never be cool with that.
I mean, like, look, if you're gonna be this bad, I guess the only thing that's left to do, kind of like the Marlins at the end of the year, is to play spoiler to a team you hate. But the problem is, Solana, it benefits the New England Patriots. Like, there is no good guy here. There is no feeling of somebody's going to get one over on all of this, because if the Dolphins do, put a chink in the Bills' armor, which they probably won't. I mean, they never beat Josh Allen. No matter who the players are missing on defense, that quarterback never loses to the Miami Dolphins. In the last game, like, it was just like he didn't even like go and run them over. It was just all just outlet passes to tight ends, Dawson and Dalton and Jackson, and all of these just killing the Dolphins 8 yards at a time. It was unbelievably frustrating.
It was like almost disrespectful, because when the Dolphins used to play the Bills, it would be one of those things where, like, it was Josh Allen heroics, right? You'd have to overcome everything, and he'd beat you with his legs, he'd beat you scrambling. And the last couple times, Tobin, remember that Thursday Night Football game last year, week 2? He didn't even do anything. It was just James Cook that just ran all over you, and the Dolphins coughed up the football. It doesn't matter. Like, they're just an overall better team, top to bottom. They just are. And every time they play you, they remind you that they are.
The Dolphins this week, they made a trade. The lone trade that went down was Jalen Phillips. He was sent to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 3rd-round pick. And Jalen Phillips, this was him later in the week after the trade went down. And I mean, you would have thought that he got sent to football heaven. Here was Jalen Phillips on the trade of the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was excited day one. I mean, talk to me now. Like, this is literally the greatest thing that's happened to me in my whole life, probably. But it's just awesome. I mean, the guys are awesome. Everybody's been super welcoming. I love the environment here. I love the vibe here. The city of Philly's, giving me a very warm welcome. I got about 20 times the amount of Instagram likes that I ever got on the post before from the Philly fans, so shout out to y'all. But yeah, it's been great so far. Getting out there practicing. I love the weather here. I love the locker room. Everything's awesome.
There you go. Just rubbing salt. It feels like he escaped Shawshank. Like he's just out of the poop pipes, and he is now just basking in the glory that is just feeling the weather, the cold, brisk weather, but it's never felt so great.
Oh, you like all your Instagram likes, JP? Is that what it is? You like all your extra Instagram likes on one post? Yeah, wait till you miss another sack. We'll see how much you like all that Instagram attention, Jalen Phillips. No. Keep getting all those QB pressures up in Philadelphia. Greatest place you've ever been in. Greatest thing that's ever happened to you. Oh, you got an extra 40,000 likes on Instagram. Yeah, let's see how much fun all those 40,000 likes on Instagram are when you miss another sack in a playoff game.
Is there anything more 2025 than that, where it's just like, yeah, man, the Instagram likes? It's like priorities. Really, really a great thing to hear, Jalen Phillips. Those hearts are going to turn into middle fingers real quick if you can't chase down Jordan Love on Monday.
The first time you have your hands on Jordan Love and you don't bring him down, we'll see how much those Philly fans are giving you a warm welcome.
Mike McDaniel, this was him when asked about the Jalen Phillips trade, and this is his thoughts on that.
Tough decisions in football. That I think the way to avoid those tough decisions, you can avoid those if you're hitting on all cylinders and winning football games. We just lost this past week, and if we want to make that a little easier on ourselves, we just win football games that we have the ability to, that instead of losing them. So we control the controllables. My feelings and my reaction are kind of that's the best way I can describe my reaction, my feelings. But the focus has to be and will continue to be our football team relative to the next opponent, which is the Buffalo Bills this week.
Riveting. A true leader and a clear communicator. That's really just got to the root of it all there. But did you find it weird this week where he said that he's got say in the trades, like he was part of the process?
I have never wanted to talk about something more than I want to talk about this with you, Tobin, because you keep me in check sometimes. Sometimes, like my take earlier was Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers, bring them in for the Hail Mary, and I like to run things by you. Explain this entire situation to me from Stephen Ross. This to me is why I continue to feel like Stephen Ross is missing the boat here completely. Okay, explain this to me. We're gonna fire the general manager because the roster is not good enough. Okay. But we're firing him the day after a Thursday night football game because the trade deadline's coming up. Like, I don't think Chris Greer gets fired that quickly if the Dolphins didn't have limited time to make trades, all right? You promote a guy you brought in to kind of oversee Chris Greer's work, literally was hired this year, coming into this season. You promote him. And the idea here is that you're going to start anew. You're going to start and hit reset on this entire button. So why is Mike McDaniel getting a say in how things are being approached with the trade deadline when clearly he has his own agenda here? And Tobin, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I respect it. Mike McDaniel wants to save his job.
Right.
But if you're Stephen Ross and you're firing the general manager, and you plan to replace the general manager, and you've got 3.5 days to make trades to put the next GM and the next regime in a better place and a more attractive place for other GMs, possible hires, why are you letting the head coach who has one thing on his mind, which is, I want to win football games, I want to save my job, which is understandable, why is he anywhere near that decision-making room when the premise of firing the general manager before the trade deadline is to go make trades and go improve your standing amongst the cap and whatnot? It makes no sense. None.
This isn't like the him. I agree with you. I think the thing is, Solana, Stephen Ross just is looking for the next thing that'll just polish it up to make it a little better. You look right now, I know everybody's, they say it's copycat, but you look right now with the Colts, right? And Carly Ursay, and the way that, like, she's not only involved with everything and has the headset on, but even I saw her today, like, she's out with the fans, she's buying drinks for the fans out, but like, she's full 10 toes down invested in that team. Dude, Stephen Ross is redoing West Palm Beach. He's not, this isn't his day-to-day thing. It's not. And I think that's he just kind of leaves it. He helicopters in. It's not that he doesn't care. It's just that he's got bigger fish to fry in his mind. Like that's what it's at. And so I just don't think you have anybody that's that attentive. I think he wants to be like, all right, well, I did something. So people think I did something. Mike, you got this? Champ, you got this? And yeah, we got this, Mr. Ross, whatever. It's just kind of what's been the big problem. And look, when he's tried to hire good people, we talk about his hiring process. When he's tried to hire good people, he's done it like around the rules. So he's gotten busted for it, or it's bit him in the ass. And I don't know. I just think that this is a thing right now where he's like, I feel like I did something, but I don't, I still want, like, they talked a big thing about collaboration. That was one of the things that they didn't like with Brian Flores at the end, is that he wouldn't collaborate. He was very isolated. So then they made a big deal about how the relationship with Greer and McDaniel was so good. Now, we don't really have insight into where the relationship was at the end, but that was a big thing that he wanted, was a harmonious working relationship. But I'm with you. Like, it goes against the future of the organization. If you're going to ask this guy, hey, would you trade Devon Achane or not? Obviously, the answer is going to be no, because the only play they have in this book is Achane save us. That's it. So it's a crazy thing. Gameday Uncensored brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Shop massive savings on massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads. We'll talk about it with Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinels to get Perk's take on all things happening in Dolphins land. We're back with more on Gameday Uncensored after this.
I'm Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to the
Uncensored, the football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana, getting you ready for Dolphins and Bills. And to do that, we'll talk to Miami Dolphins columnist from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, our guy Chris Perkins. Perk, how you doing here on this beautiful Sunday?
It is a beautiful Sunday, man. But let me tell you, Bills Mafia is representing in this stadium. They have a whole corner of the parking lot at 27th Avenue and 199th Street. Bills Mafia, as usual, representing strong.
It's embarrassing, man. Perk, like what are we doing here? And they're taking over Elbow Room on Fort Lauderdale Beach, then now they're putting themselves through chairs and tables here at Hard Rock Stadium. Like, what are we doing, man? This has got to change. Exactly, yeah. Got to change.
Yeah, Dolphins got to win to take their stadium back, man. This is two straight home games. Well, this stadium is up for grabs for the rest of the season.
Well, Perk, I was thinking something more like cancel all flights from Buffalo because they're not going to win today. So we got to figure something else out, man.
That's right. Blame the government shutdown. That's right. No Buffalo are coming in. Government shutdown. That's right. That's brilliant, Solana. You can get that done. The Dolphins. Steve Ross should have been on top of that.
Perk, there was a report this morning that the Bills reached out, apparently interested in Jalen Waddle, that they were offering up a first-round pick in 2027. Do you blame the Dolphins for not taking a deal and sending their best receiver to Buffalo, or best deal be damned, whoever gives it to you, you got to give up a star player?
No, I'm not sending Jalen Waddle to Buffalo to team with Josh Allen and torment you for the next X amount of years. Absolutely, positively zero chance of that. Plus, I'm in favor of keeping Jalen Waddle. He's got a favorable contract. He's a productive player. And look, if Tua is back next season, he's already going to be without Tyreek. If he's without Waddle, what are you leaving him with? Like, what chance does he have to succeed? So, I wouldn't imagine that Darren Waller is going to be back. Maybe he is, but he'll be 34 years old and still injury prone. You got to leave Tua something, and you've got to leave yourself some hope of winning the division. But a Josh Allen, Jalen Waddle combo, you're not winning the division for the next, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, man, that's a good call. Perk, there's so many things that I want to ask you about, but I think Tobin and I, we want some clarity on this decision, because Mike McDaniel revealed that he had some input leading up to the trade deadline following the firing of Chris Greer. So he talked about the collaborative effort between him and Chem Kelly and some of the other people involved. I wonder, A, do you believe him? Is that Mike McDaniel? Because I don't know why he would lie about that, but I'm just asking you, do you believe him? Was he actually involved in that process? And B, why? If so, why? Why would Mike McDaniel, who clearly has, an agenda, and I'm not blaming him for it, Perk. I'm not saying he's wrong. He's trying to save his job. Like, I can respect that. But he wants something different than what I think Stephen Ross wanted when he fired the GM, Chris Greer, which was to put the Dolphins in a better situation than they were prior to the deadline.
I think that Mike McDaniel was involved, and the names that we were given were Champ Kelly, Mike McDaniel, and Brandon Shore, who is the salary capologist, but does have some influence on decisions that are made here. I have reason to think and believe that there was there was daylight between Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer in the last few weeks or the last couple of months. A phrase that was given to me about Greer was moves that weren't made. And so, meaning that there were moves that somebody in the organization wanted to make that Greer didn't want to make. So that would size up with Mike. And Mike is going to be involved to a certain extent with trade deadline moves anyway, because he's got to coach that talent. He might not have the final word, especially if it's a defensive player, but he's going to be involved. I think his involvement is probably a little bit more now than it was with, when Greer was there. But yeah, I definitely believe that he was involved in a lot of the decisions that were made. And I think that for the rest of the way, he's going to be more heavily involved than he was previously. But, we were always led to believe that Greer and McDaniel were in lockstep and tight on everything. But I've heard that recently that was not the case. And that phrase that was used to me, moves that weren't made, that was used with me a couple of weeks ago. And lo and behold, Chris Greer is gone.
So do you feel like this is one of those things where we always seem like in a Stephen Ross organization, somebody wins the power struggle between the coach and the GM? Like, is this just a case of McDaniel's won and he's going to now get to stick this out a little bit more, or is he still also on thin ice?
He definitely won, but look, I'll be clear. Mike McDaniel needs to go. The GM's number one job is getting talent for the organization. And we can pretty much all agree that Mike McDaniel had the best talent that this organization has had in 2 decades. He's turned it into a 500 operation. Mike McDaniel has a 30-30 regular season record, 30-32 if you include those 2 playoff losses. This team should have been way better. It had way much better than 500 talent. I mean, Joe Philbin could have gone 500 with this talent. So, I think that the getting the talent, if you want to blame Chris Greer and say that there was flawed roster construction and all that kind of stuff, which I do believe, he paid for it with his job, but the on-field product, it should have been a lot better. Should have had a better run game, better strategy, better philosophy, better discipline. They're minus 18 in the McDaniel era in turnover margin. So there's just a lot of things with the on-field product that, the phrase I've always used is that they have underachieved and disappointed. And I stand by that. And this isn't personal against Mike. It's business. I just think he needs to go.
And what about the rest of, the season here, Perk, second half of the season? I'm with you. Everything you just said is 100% spot on. Is this team going to keep playing for him? Because I think the notion has been that he hasn't lost the locker room. Clearly, that's why Stephen Ross is keeping him around. And I don't know, is he playing for his job or is he coaching for his job rather? And is this team going to stick with him? Because clearly, Tobin said it earlier, this entire era is over. And anybody that has any idea about the NFL or football or the Dolphins knows that it's over. So why should this locker room keep fighting for McDaniel? Will they?
Here's what I've said, and what I continue to say is I think the players like Mike. I think the players respect Mike, but I think the players have stopped listening to Mike. And at that point, you're ineffective as a coach. So that's that part of it. But look, I think the McDaniel era has been a failure. And I should say the Greer, McDaniel, Tua era, because all 3 of them are tied into this whole thing. But, if you want to go coach, it's the McDaniel era. And again, I don't say this out of any kind of anger or anything like that, hostility or resentment. This is business. This is a fact. They failed. They did. And so I think that, once the players stop listening to you, and we see this throughout all the mistakes, the constant mistakes that are made, right? Whether it's roughing the punter, running into the punter, the operational stuff, the penalties, just kind of this, this stuff that the operation should be a lot tighter, and it's not. And these guys, these players aren't dumb. They can understand concepts. I think it's just at a point where they just kind of roll their eyes in meetings and at practice and go, this, where are we going with this? Like this hasn't worked. Players know what kind of talent they have, right? They know what other players in the league are like and what they should be like. They can see that this thing has failed, that this team has underachieved. And so I think that they've tuned out Mike, and let's not just make this a Mike thing. Anthony Weaver, the front 7, like what in the world are they doing? They have underachieved. And so special teams, I just talked about roughing the punter and running into the punter. Like they allow the 90-yard kickoff return touchdown. So there's just a lot of indications that, you could say that the team is not coached well, but you could also say players have tuned out the coaches.
But they got rid of the Papa Shot, Perk, so they're obviously focused on this week.
That's right. Hey, it worked for Baltimore, right? They got rid of the ping pong table and came down here and smoked the Dolphins. So, maybe it works for the Dolphins. Who knows? I will say this: in 2022, you guys remember they had the ping pong table, then they didn't have it, and they brought it back, and then they took it out. They were 3-7 without the 3-7 without the with the ping pong table, 6-2 without the ping pong table. So, maybe
that's an incredible stat.
Maybe they go on the streak here.
The fact that we have metrics on that is absolutely.
Let me ask you guys this. So if the Dolphins win today, they pull the upset, then they could beat New Orleans. They could beat who do they have after that? The Jets? No, Washington, New Orleans.
Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders with no Jaden Daniels. Would you want a 4-game winning streak and a 6-7 record, or are you? We
were talking about that earlier. It's like, what do you root for at this point? I don't know. Like, it's such a weird place that they're in, because it's like obviously the coach is going to want to win as many games as possible, because then it'll have the appearance that they do listen to him and that they can, turn this thing around. And I don't know if that's for the best, Perk. I feel like you said this is over, and I feel like it's best to just admit that it's over and have a clean direction.
Yeah, you know what? It would be a very confusing situation, because for the most part, if you beat Buffalo, you get full credit. If they go on this 4-game winning streak we just mentioned, it would be beating 3 bad teams. And what would that mean? I mean, Washington without Jaden Daniels, New Orleans, and the Jets, it would be good to win 4 games, but 3 of those games you would go, well, they probably should have won. So what if they proven? It would be a very awkward situation. Now, look, I would always rather see a team win, and or just play well, not try to lose. I'm anti-tank, but that would put the Dolphins in a very awkward situation. I don't think it would make a difference. I still say the goal for the season, the measure of a successful season, was winning a playoff game. It didn't look like they were going to do that at any point, from free agency through the draft, training camp. So they're going to come up short in my book. But, boy, if they did get to 6-7, that would be an interesting situation, huh?
Hey, Perk, I get what I totally get it, because you look at the schedule, and the Dolphins prove, like, they can win a game. They did it in Atlanta. This team's not winning 4 straight, Perk. I don't know how to break it to anybody out there, even the most hopeful Dolphins fans. And I get it, because you look at the schedule and you're like, okay, Commanders, bye week, Saints. Perk, I would bet my entire life savings that this iteration of the Miami Dolphins is not winning 4 straight games. It's just not happening. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably, especially starting with today's game. I mean, look, it's not only Josh Allen that you have to get over, but James Cook making his homecoming, Bosa making his homecoming. But I will say this now. If you want to keep being optimistic, the Dolphins do have a ray of hope, because this could be that trap game, right? Buffalo played Kansas City last week. They play Tampa next week. So maybe Buffalo comes in here thinking, the Dolphins suck. We beat them 7 straight times. We just beat Kansas City. We need to focus on Tampa. Maybe, perhaps, possibly, but I doubt it. I doubt it very. I'm trying to throw out some hope there. I'm trying to throw out hope for the hardcore Dolphins fans who probably want a loss anyway. But I'm trying.
It's nice that Josh Allen's been so polite with his ownership of the Dolphins. Like Aaron Rodgers used to rub it in the Bears' face. Said, I own you. Like he honestly could do. He could be meaner about it.
He could. Yeah. So I guess there's that, right? There's that. If we're looking for silver lining, Josh Allen, he's been dominant, but he's been polite about it.
Chris Perkins, go check out his work in the Sun Sentinel. We always appreciate you joining us, Perk. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll talk next week.
All righty. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. Back with more after this.
I'm Kasper Sekuchanis of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to
Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Solana, you sent me during Perk's interview, the Bills are flying their own banner.
Bills Mafia apparently has like Bills Mafia Miami or whatever, like some sort of fan group here where all the sellouts that came down to South Florida, and they're flying a banner, bro. They're flying a banner over Hard Rock Stadium that says "Go Bills, fans of Buffalo, Bills backers MIA."
Jesus. I saw that they have like a beer truck there, it looks like. I mean, what is going on here? It's gonna be all Bills fans today, right? It's gonna be overwhelmingly Bills fans, yeah. Because even if you're a Dolphins fan, you're only going because, like you said, it's you got tickets. That's what you do. But like, I don't know how many people who don't have season tickets are genuinely gonna be like, oh yeah, sign me up. I want to go to that game. Unless you're getting like $3 tickets and you're gonna like bike ride over there because you don't want to spend $50 on parking.
I mean, yeah, no joke. Like, let's kind of walk through this. You're a big time Dolphins fan. You're a season ticket holder. I mean, you're pissed off about how the season's going,
of course.
And a Bills fan is going to offer you $300 for each of your tickets, rather than sitting there being miserable with all Bills fans around you. Honestly, like, you take that, don't you?
Yeah, and I know that like even teams like get like in their feelings about this, like, oh, it's you got to stick it out. It's like, no, I don't actually. Like, I can use my tickets how I please, especially when you guys are playing the way that you are. Like, I feel like like if you're in the midst of a championship or something like that, like a championship series, think Heat Mavs back in the day, and a ton of Mavs fans bought tickets to Game 6, and like, yeah, that's a little unsettling that people were rats off shit like that in the midst of a championship series. But in the regular season where you're awful, no apologies.
I used to feel that way when I was growing up. I had season tickets to pretty much everything: the Hurricanes, the Dolphins, obviously the Miami Heat, and I used to have like this sense of pride, like, you got to go to every game. You got to be there for kickoff, for tip-off, and you can't leave until the final whistle. You got to be there in your seat. You're going to sell ticket. And you know what? You know what it got me? Nothing.
Yeah.
Guess what? Be there for the playoffs. Don't sell your tickets to Bulls fans for Heat Bulls in the Big Three era. And if the Dolphins ever make the playoffs and they host a game, don't sell your tickets to the Chiefs fan or whatever. Be there for the playoffs. But in the regular season, your team stinks. Make your money, man. Make it.
Yeah, if you like, when you go to like Panthers games, back in the day before we're talking, attempting a three-peat, like when Canadian fans were here, it was all Canadian teams buying things, and now it's like, now it's weird. It's a strange thing. So
that's still a thing.
Man.
That's still a thing every December when Montreal comes to town. You got all the Habs fans that spend more money buying tickets to a game in Montreal, or Toronto fans. It's more expensive to buy a ticket for a game in Montreal or in Toronto than it is to fly down to South Florida, stay at a hotel for a week, and buy tickets to a Panthers game here. It's the O Canada takeover every single December.
Let us get to our part of the show where we take a listen on some of the sound bites of the week. We like to call this Echolocation.
It's time for Echolocation.
That is how Dolphins communicate.
It's okay to be called out as long as you change your behavior.
What's 1,000 yards if it's not like a winning season?
They talk, we do.
Echolocation.
Send it in.
They talk, we do. Worst words have never been spoken from a player on this team. They talk, we do. Well, this is them talking. Alec Ingold, who Solana's already sick of hearing from, Dolphins fullback, He said he's keeping guys positive during all the struggles, what he's trying to do.
You don't want false positivity, right? Like, I don't think that helps anything. But I do think there's a skill to find beauty in our struggle and encouraging guys that have been playing well, and making sure to emphasize those points and seeing, kind of widening your scope, right? A lot of us, when adverse times hit, when the results aren't happening, you kind of dial your focus into your job, what you can control. I think as a leader, the challenge is acknowledging the people that are doing a great job and making sure you're encouraging and bringing them along, leading by example as well. And then being bold and convicted in things that you don't want to see anymore, and having the courage to speak up on that, and holding everybody accountable to that standard. So I think it's those three things that, as leaders, it falls on us to execute. And I think that's kind of the formula we have to find again.
Okay. Look, Alec, respectfully, Eric Spoelstra tried this nonsense last year when his team was terrible. He used that same line, there's beauty in the struggle. And no, you want to know what's beautiful? 140 points a game. That's beautiful. Going and getting an offensive and completely revamping your team and having one of the most fun teams in basketball, that's where there's beauty. There's not beauty in the struggle.
Hey, Tobin, Alec Ingalls just working on his new book. That's all it is. He's actively talking out lines that he's using in his new book to see, get a gauge for, do people like this one? Do people not like this one? Look, man, I genuinely respect the dude. He's very intelligent. He's very wise. And part of what he's saying, sure, it makes sense. But I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't want to hear that. Stop going to Alec Ingold for comments. Stop.
Like, just want to turn down requests.
Yeah, like, he's just running the gamut of cliches.
Yep,
that's all he's doing. I know he's very smart. I read part of his book. Tobin, his book is called like The 7 Crucibles or something. Like, this is a smart guy. Stop going to him.
I
Stop.
didn't know he had a book.
Yeah.
Is there a chapter on Stop Throwing Me the Deep Ball?
No, there's a chapter on I love 18-yard dig routes.
Is there a chapter on I'm the only fullback in the league that doesn't run in short yardage situations?
Great.
Jalen Waddle, he spoke this week amongst the trade rumors, but you know who we're facing this week, Solana? That rat bastard, Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
That self-team sabotaging mole back where he belongs with Bill's Mafia. And Jalen Waddle says they got to be aware of him.
Poe, great player, got a lot of instincts. So yeah, most likely he's going to be out there. We just got to be, cautious of everywhere he's at on the field. He's a dangerous player, and, we have him for a year. Great teammate, great person. So I'm excited to see him, excited to compete against him.
Yeah. You'd be in more danger though, Jalen Waddle, if you were actually his teammate, because then you'd have to watch out for your knees.
Waddle's adorable. He's just being nice. He won't say anything bad about anybody. Jordan Poyer is only playing because the Bills have nobody else.
Yep.
That's it. That's the only reason why he's playing. He's on the practice squad. He's only playing because the Bills literally have nobody else to suit up.
And yet somehow they'll figure, McDermott, he's got the formula. He'll figure it out to slow Tua down, slow Waddle down.
Tobin, if Tua throws a pick to Jordan Poyer, that might be it for me. Like that might do it for me this season.
I don't disagree with you, because Poyer's already talked bleep. He's like, I've taken receipts. It's like, receipts on what, dude? You sucked. You sucked. The most famous thing you did last year was trip balls with Aaron Rodgers in the jungle. Like, that's it. Did nothing as a Miami Dolphin. And by the way, you flirt. Like, the thing that annoyed me the most about the Jordan Poyer thing was this dude was flirting with the Dolphins for like 3 years, like dying to be a Miami Dolphin.
Right. And then they kind of eviscerated, wasn't it his wife that kind of eviscerated Buffalo on the way out, if I remember correctly? But then immediately was talking about how much he missed Buffalo once Poyer had a little bit of adversity here in Miami. Like, I don't understand this entire thing. He wanted out. He wanted to go somewhere else. He came to where he wanted to go. And then now he's like, I'm keeping receipts on everybody in Miami. Like, what?
Yeah, great. So happy you're keeping receipts. We talked about this earlier. The Dolphins have gotten rid of their Papa Shot hoop and card tables in the locker room. Patrick Paul, this is his thoughts on it.
There are some things missing from the locker room now, namely the basketball hoops and the card tables. What's the message that's being sent with them being removed?
Honestly, I got beat and I got mad and I just broke the whole thing. So, nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, I don't know. You know, wanted to redecorate, I guess. You know, yeah.
He's adorable. Listen,
a little awkward though. A little awkward.
He's like, am I allowed to laugh? Can I do that? Listen, you're one of the only good things this year, Patrick Paul. So I'll allow it.
Yeah, but you could tell they all think it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Jordan Brooks doesn't want to talk, and Patrick Paul is like, I'm just kidding. Like,
I don't even. The thing that I find weird about it, and I know Perk mentioned that the Ravens did it. It's like, yeah, but the Ravens were getting Lamar. Like Lamar Jackson, this is why you're savvy. If you're Lamar Jackson, you're coming back after you have Snoop Huntley and Cooper Rush playing. But the real thing that's going to change is you. So then you say, oh, I'm going to take the locker room ping pong table out. And we're taking on a terrible Dolphins team. Then it looks savvy. The Dolphins are doing this at 2-7, taking on a quarterback that's lost to them twice in his life. It's just stupid. It's like it's bad timing. You do this maybe, you do this before the Saints game, but it's to get to 500. Then that's when you pull the move. But why not do this at 2-3 if you were going to get serious? 2-7?
Whose decision is this, Tobin? If you had to guess, whose decision to remove the table?
I hate to say it because I love him. This feels like a Zach Sealer move.
Wow. No, it's not.
You don't think so? Who else?
No, it's not. This feels like a above the locker room type of decision, like a Champ Kelly decision, or a Ross decision. Or maybe a McDaniel decision, a Weaver decision. Like this feels like it has like coaching staff, management all over it.
Okay, but do you think they go to Zach Sealer and they're like, Zach, like make a statement, make a statement that you're not, and then he's like, all right. And so then he takes down the Papa Shot hoop.
No, I think this is like the guys get in there one morning and everything's gone. And there was a memo sent out like, hey, we've removed the Papa Shot. Time to lock in, handle business the second half of the season. Mike McDaniel perhaps trying to save his job, sending a message to the team. Like this to me has like Champ Kelly, McDaniel, Weaver written all over it.
Oh man. Well, Champ Kelly did not trade Bradley Chubb, but Bradley Chubb had a message to his guy, Jalen Phillips, who was dealt to the Eagles.
Yeah, just tell them to go out there and make the most of it, man. The team brings you in because they feel like you can help them win. You know what I mean? And look at that as a positive. I know you hate leaving us, hate not being here with us, but at the end of the day, man, you got a chance to do something special. So I just relayed that message to him.
Was that before or after Jalen Phillips said, "This is the greatest day of my life"?
He's like, I know you miss us, and JP's like, no, I don't.
It reminds me of Brittany will appreciate this as a fellow Love Island fan. Brittany, doesn't it remind you of like when somebody's so in love on Love Island and then like they one of the part of the couples gets dumped from the island by America, and then you think, oh, I'm gonna stay, but I do love you, I do, but I'm not leaving, I'm not.
The Rob of last season.
Yes.
That's what Jalen Phillips is. I also want to add that Jalen Phillips quite literally just announced that he's having a child, and yet going to the Eagles was the best thing that's ever happened to him in his life.
Right. Yeah. Solana, whenever baby Solana comes along, food for thought, dude. When you get the hosting gig you want, don't say it's the greatest day of your life. Just a piece of advice. Say it's the greatest professional day of your life.
Such a great point by Brittany. Like nobody's realizing Jalen Phillips, who's been there for 3 hours, is just so fascinated by Twitter or Instagram likes. He's like, the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Meanwhile, his wife's at home like, okay.
Didn't they have pyrotechnics for their gender reveal? Like their gender reveal was outlandish.
It was crazy. They were like draft pick, and in the 2026 draft, it was like this whole ensemble Yet going to the Eagles was the best thing that's ever happened to him in his life.
Because I got way more likes with this trade than I did for my stupid kid. Nobody cares. Everybody's sick of people's kids. He's just like, this is great. Cheesesteaks and Instagram likes. That's what football's about.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. All right, we'll take a break. Tua Tagovailoa. What can you say about this guy? I mean, honestly, what is the future for him? Where are we at with him? We'll take a break, get into Gameday Uncensored on Tua's future. A lot of reports out there about it. That's next.
I'm Andrew Wiggins of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on this move.
And HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
If at first you don't succeed, yada, yada, yada. Well, the Dolphins are going to try again to beat the Bills, an attempt that has been, let's face it, rather futile of late. The Finns are home today, and maybe a favorable crowd will help aid in getting the job done over Buffalo. The outcomes have been rather gloomy. Mike McDaniel weighs in.
I've been on both sides of a division rivalry that has skewed one way or the other, being on both sides, you learn to be very, very careful not to care at all about whatever that is. Why? Because these are two different teams, even from earlier in the year.
It's been a difficult year for the Dolphins, and playing a team they haven't beaten in, let's just say forever, looms rather large over the team's collective heads. Team captain Alec Ingold talks about keeping things positive.
A lot of us, when adverse times hit, when the results aren't happening, you kind of dial your focus into your job, what you can control. I think as a leader, the challenge is acknowledging the people that are doing a great job and making sure you're encouraging and bringing them along, leading by example as well, and then being bold and convicted in things that you don't want to see anymore.
The moment has arrived to talk about this one. It's Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans, with Tobin and Solana, Omar, Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana. Brittany Rodriguez producing for us. Omar Kelly going to join us next hour. We'll talk to Omar about this upcoming matchup, Dolphins and Bills, and other things in all of Dolphins land as we move it along here. Dolphins 2-7 on the season, getting ready to take on a team that has just absolutely used them as a speed bag the entirety of Mike McDaniel's tenure and even dating back all of Josh Allen's career, basically. They have been an absolute doormat for the Buffalo Bills outside of, basically the sun that one time where Ken Dorsey freaked out. Saw Ken Dorsey as he got in the Ring of Honor. He looked much more relaxed than the last time he was there.
Hey, why'd that take so long?
I don't know how this works. I don't know what goes into who's in Ring of Honor, because I feel that way a lot of the times. I'm like, why does that take so? I think a lot of the times probably has to do with, hey, do you want to do it? And he's coaching in the NFL, and he's just like, sometimes it's something like that. I that would be my best guess. But yeah, obviously he should have been in there a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, best Canes quarterback other than Cam Ward in the current century we're in. He won a title, the last quarterback to do it.
Heisman finalist. Yep. Yeah. I don't know why it took so long, but I'm glad that he's in there. Quarterback that we're not exactly glad is in there right now, Tua. It's so there's been reports all over the place, Solana. It's there's talks that maybe the Dolphins have the green light to bench him. That if things continue to go in this direction, Mike McDaniel's got like that ability to move on from Tua if he feels like Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers could do better for the Miami Dolphins. But then there's also reports this week, CBS's Jonathan Jones reported that Tua is expected to be back next season.
Yeah.
At least a lot of executives think that just because of his injury history, and also this was interesting that doesn't have a lot of fans around the league, especially after continuing to cause controversy after controversy this year, which I really haven't thought about. The fact that his play has been bad, but the fact that he just causes media circus.
Right.
Is another reason why teams wouldn't necessarily want him in tow for their organization. So I don't really know where we go with this because, look, he has been bad this year. There's just no two ways about it. He's been bad. He may be physically washed. But do you feel like let's say Tua goes there. If he throws a couple of picks in this first half, do you think there's a real chance that if it's Quinn Ewers or Zach Wilson, whoever the backup is, that McDaniel pulls the trigger?
Oh, man, I think he might end up pulling the trigger in specific games because of how bad the situation gets. but I can't see Mike McDaniel benching Tua Tagovailoa over the next couple games. Like, at the end of the season, you want to shut Tua down. It just makes all the sense in the world, probably for everybody. But next couple games, I'm talking today, Washington, Saints, even the Jets. Like, I don't think it'll get to that point unless it's really, really bad. But Tobin, I don't think it will be. Like, he's just not playing great. But that game against the Browns to me it isn't something I think we'll see from Tua again this season. At least I hope not. But as far as, what Tua is playing for, I don't know if he'll be back here next year. But you'd like to imagine even Tua, Tobin, can read this situation and say, hey, this era's done. Mike McDaniel's probably on the outs here. And this franchise clearly wants to move forward, likely without me. But maybe I can find a landing spot somewhere else if I play really well the last half of the season. And another organization might say, hey, maybe we'll give this guy a chance to be, our franchise quarterback. It didn't work in Miami. I know there's a lot of outlying factors with concussions and the media storm, all the stuff you're mentioning, and the contract. But, doesn't he have a lot to play for himself to prove, like, hey, I can still do this at an elite level?
Well, it kind of goes back to what Perk was saying, right? It's like if the Dolphins, I agree with you. I don't think the Dolphins have a run in them just because of how poorly they play. Because even if Tua got things in line, who's to say the defense doesn't blow it? That's just how the Dolphins have gone this year. Is they just find ways to lose in spectacular fashion. But look, he's got enough pedigree, no matter what anybody thinks about him. If he's gone, like the Dolphins, let's just say the Dolphins bit the bullet and they were just like, we're done with him. He's a free agent. He's free to sign with whomever he wants. Someone's going to take a chance on him, like just to add in competition. Like even if it was as a decorated backup, somebody is going to bring in Tua. It's not like his NFL career is going to end after the Dolphins. Would anybody trade for him? That's the thing he's probably playing for, is like, hey, can he play well enough that somebody would be like, if the Dolphins finagle the contract in some way, shape, or form and give something up, that could be what he's playing for as far as a fresh start is concerned. But I just don't, he's been so bad this year, man. He's been so disappointing. And yeah, it's also been coupled with the fact that he's been a PR nightmare for the team.
Yeah, but look, here's what I'd say to that. I'm with you. When I say, would another team give Tua the opportunity to be the face of, the quarterback, their franchise quarterback, saying that right now sounds silly because I don't think Tua can be another team's franchise quarterback. But I think other organizations and people who cover the NFL can look around at the Indianapolis Colts and what do they say? Man, Daniel Jones, like that guy was left for dead in New York. That guy was donezo in New York. And guess what? Looks like a franchise quarterback right now. At least he's playing that way. Sam Darnold, two separate organizations were like, yeah, we're good. And when he was playing with the Jets, he was garbage. Absolute garbage. He never had the ceiling that we thought Tua had. He never had the types of games we thought Tua had. And guess what? Looks like a franchise quarterback right now. Like, there's examples around the NFL, and I get it's different with Tua. I realize that, Tobin, because of the concussions. And it's a big part of this. But if he stays healthy again this season, I think other teams are going to look around and say, hey, if the Dolphins, via trade, if the Dolphins would be willing to cover some of his cap or most of his cap, and we can get him at an extreme discount, I think there's going to be interest. I think there will be. I don't know for sure, but man, there's too many examples around the league of guys getting second chance opportunities. Why wouldn't Tua?
Yeah, and especially if you didn't think like you had a great answer for something, like, are the Arizona Cardinals, if they move on from Kyler Murray, are they really going to give it to Jacoby Brissett, or what is the next step for them? I don't know. I agree. Like, the retread quarterback is very chic right now in the NFL. The only guy that kind of feels like Tua that had this is Baker Mayfield, just because of the polarizing nature of him. Is he good? Is he not? He'll get into trouble with his mouth a little bit. But his players really liked him in Cleveland. And I do think that there's still that element of he had to take a long road to get to where he's at. 2 other teams. Like, it wasn't a quick, next team that moved on, it worked immediately for Baker Mayfield. Like, he had to go through a little bit of football hell to get there. So this may not necessarily be, Tua. I mean, honestly, maybe it's Tua, if he doesn't stick with the Dolphins, 2 years of not playing, doesn't get his bell rung, doesn't physically get hurt, rests his body for the first time, and maybe that's how he gets back there, Solana. But the physical toll that he's taken, like, I do think, to me, it's like one of the unspoken things about this season is I just think he might physically be cooked. I do think that. There's part of me that thinks that all of the headshots, all of the ankle injuries, the hip injuries, he already wasn't a big guy. There wasn't a great margin for error there. And, people have always made fun of his arm. I get that. But, we've seen this guy have explosive plays for this franchise. I mean, him and Tyreek have set records together. I just don't think that's the same guy we're seeing this year. And I think that all this stuff is just taking a toll on him. And so that's also a big concern about his career is, like, can he just physically hold up to the game anymore?
Yeah, it's definitely not the same guy. The play last week, I don't know if you saw this in the second half, Tobin. The Dolphins are down. They're driving. They're trying to put something together. They haven't done anything. They haven't done squat in the second half. And Tua rolls out to his left and feels some pressure, but there's nobody in front of him. The Ravens are playing man coverage, and he could have ran for a first down. He could have picked up a decent chunk of change. He at least could have gotten positive yardage on the play by just using his feet, scrambling, getting out of the pocket, and running. And the second he gets out, the second he backpedals and kind of scrambles out to his left, he feels the pass rush coming from behind him, and he just chucks the ball into the ground, and it's an intentional grounding. And when you watch that replay, it's all the things you're describing. It's somebody who doesn't trust his body, doesn't feel confident in using his legs, and doesn't want to get hurt. And I don't know, man, like that's not the person you want leading your organization. It's just not.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing to have a guy. And they've, there's been reports about this that's been leaked that have been like, oh, McDaniel's got to coach a quarterback who can't get hurt. So like he's handcuffed in some way. It's like, yeah, but he knew. Like that was the the number one thing that everybody had as far as giving him an extension. And again, I was for giving him an extension. I thought that he balled out and was hopeful that this stuff was behind him. No, he started taking jiu-jitsu, which was a big problem. But that's neither here nor there. The biggest concern you would have is, hey, the guy is a physical time bomb. And, this idea that you didn't know that could have been an issue is pretty crazy considering everything you would already were through with him. This was Mike McDaniel on the idea of Tua getting benched if he continues to play badly. Here's what he had to say.
I'm far from even going down that direction of would have, could have, possible things. We have a football game against the Buffalo Bills that, we are certain that Tua gives us the best chance to win. And we have to approach our jobs with diligence, and we have to execute. And Tua knows that, heavy is the crown of being a franchise quarterback, that you, with the anointment of being a franchise quarterback comes, the consequences of having to be on top of your game. And we're all under the same scrutiny and have the same starting point of, all right, you are on the field to give us the best chance to win. And when he doesn't give us the best chance to win, then you adjust. But speculation as far as, all right, if this player doesn't do his job down the road, will he still have his, I think it's pretty simple. We play the players that give us the best chance to win. And when that changes, or if that changes, or if somebody else gives us a better shot, then we adjust there. But I still absolutely don't forget all of the learning lessons and the growth that Tua has had over his career. And I'm counting on him to have the similar response from this last game. But and as far as conjectures go down the road for a headline, I don't see how that necessarily helps the Miami Dolphins play the Buffalo Bills.
Wow. Whew.
Tobin, don't do that to me again. Please, I beg you, don't do that to me again. You know what you did. That was just some.
Wow.
That was. You saw that clip was 90 something seconds, and you know what you were doing there.
I think that was a 5. I think that was a clip of a 5-minute answer. I'm pretty sure.
You don't think at any point he's like, man, maybe I should just shut up.
I don't think he can.
No,
I don't think he can. I don't think he knows. I don't think there's just not the button in here that just tells him shut up. Unless it's about injuries. That's it. That's the only one where it's just like, I don't know. That's it.
What do you think the best option here is with Tua, Tobin? Because all this is happening because of that Ian Rappaport report.
Yep.
That was released, and he kind of went through. I have the report in front of me. He goes through all the different options and different avenues that Miami has, and he talks about doing what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson, which is just taking a $85 million hit in dead salary cap and just buying him out. And then there's other options, like he goes through all the different ones, and then trying to trade him as well, which we just talked about. What do you think is the most realistic one? Because I think he's going to be here next year. I hate to admit it, because again, I told you what I want. I want to reset this entire thing, everything.
Right.
I hope Tua finds success elsewhere. Truthfully, I do. I was happy for Ryan Tannehill when he found success with the Tennessee Titans. Like,
you were?
Good for him, man. Yeah, I mean, good for him.
Not me, dude.
Good for him.
I rooted for his downfall.
I hope he finds success elsewhere. Genuinely, I'm done with this entire era. I want to reset everything. I want to complete rehaul, GM, coach, quarterback, everything other than Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle. Like let's move forward. But I'm also realistic. I'm looking at the cap situation, and I'm looking at this is likely going to take more than a season to rebuild. So why pay this guy just a ridiculous amount of money if you're going to need a quarterback next year anyways? I'm just realistic. I think he'll be here. What do you think is going to happen?
I agree with you, just because I don't think the McDaniel Tua relationship goes just kaput, but I have felt like there's been a little bit of snippiness between both of them. And as we were talking about this with Perk, with the McDaniel Chris Greer relationship, like when people's jobs are on the line, that's when relationships are truly tested. And I do think, like, if he continues to go down the path of he leads the league in interceptions this year, I think you kind of just got to bite it, and you just got to realize, like, it's over, because he just he's too much of a lightning rod to have on your team at that point. And I don't know what the good answer is from there, whether it be, turning this over to Quinn Ewers or whomever it ends up being, like, depending on where you are to draft somebody. Like, that's the only real path, is you're able to bring in, a rookie quarterback that can be productive for you right off the bat. And that rookie QB is, gonna, I guess, have a good running back, a good receiver. Hopefully that they have a more established line by then. That's really the only path, other than, I don't know, Russell Wilson's swan song. Like, and then you're getting into Russell Wilson, Tua, like, what's the difference? I think the only thing is with Tua, it's almost like a sacrifice to the fans. It's like, we know you're sick of this guy. We're ready to move on. And I think it has to get really bad to get to that point. If there is some rally in the season, like we've talked about, I could see him sticking around. And then hopefully, this team isn't as snake bit last year. They could actually fix the O-line and not have a bunch of backups in there. There are ways you could talk yourself into it, for sure. But man, I think he's got to show a lot of improvement this back half of the year, because it's been really, really piss poor this season.
But isn't next year, Tobin, just kind of like a reset year? I'm looking at what the Saints are doing. The Saints, I mean, this year was literally a year where they knew they were going to stink. They knew it. So they didn't spend money in the offseason. They're just trying to clean the books.
Yep.
Clean the books and take a year where you're just going to put out a young quarterback. They're going with Shuck now. Rattler has been a disappointment, so they're going to the next young guy. Like, they're just trying to figure out what they have, but they didn't spend money. And they're not trying to spend money. They're just trying to reset, clean the books, get back on the right track. And I know it sucks because none of us want the Dolphins to be bad again next year. And you never know. Like I was telling you a couple weeks ago, I'm a big proponent of in the NFL, you can kind of get back to being at least competent quicker than it used to take you. Like you used to have to do it.
It doesn't
do
take
it through
long.
the draft. It doesn't take that long anymore. The Eagles won a Super Bowl, fired their head coach, won another Super Bowl, and put themselves in a position all in the time that Chris Greer is trying to just build one competent roster. The Lions have done it. The Commanders did it. Like there's a lot of examples of that.
The Patriots are doing it right now, really.
The Patriots are doing it right now. But I also think certain cap situations matter. And right now the Dolphins are in cap hell and will be in cap hell next season. I wonder if like what the approach is going to be by the next regime. If it, hey, no, like we've got some talent. We've just got to find the right guys to fill in some pieces, or no, like we've got to take a full gap year. Let's reset everything. Let's get back on the right track.
And people have mentioned this in the chat, and we got to wrap it up. But people have mentioned this in the chat. Like it does also depend. Like, well, who had the say on Tua's extension, right? Like if McDaniel did have, we know that he went back to bat for Tua, but like how much influence was there? Was it a little? Was it a lot? If he had a ton, it's kind of hard not to. It's kind of hard not to be like, if you're Steven Ross, no, you got to ride it out. This is your guy. This is your guy, and I'm going to see to it that like you make it at work with him. But if it wasn't, if it was more like I kind of want him and Chris Greer, if Mike can talk his way into going into a new path, then that I think would have an influence on it as well. But it's hard to know because everybody's going to obviously deny it now. You know, just like it was when people drafted Tua. Like it's like nobody wanted Tua, really. We wanted Jordan Love and we wanted Justin Herbert. He just it randomly came up. We drafted this guy. I mean, nobody really wanted him. It's like, wait, what? Let me get this straight. You guys were all in the draft room. Only one quarterback was taken. It was Joe Burrow. And yet nobody wants to take. No, Flores wanted Love and Chris Greer kind of liked Herbert, but then they both were just like toss up. Let's go to like what? No, like so nobody wanted him. Just like that's how we're gonna do this. So that's gonna be how it is with Tua's extension. No one's gonna take responsibility for that time bomb.
And they tasted a little bit of success for the first time in 2023, and it was Tua Tagovailoa leading them, and they all bought the F in. Let's be 100% honest. They tasted these guys. Mike McDaniel, first time coaching, he felt it. Chris Greer finally found some modicum of success during a rebuild, and it was the guy he drafted. I mean, these guys all tasted that and bought in and totally bought in. It's everybody, man. For Mike McDaniel to pretend like he wasn't, behind the extension, to me is folly. And if it's Chris Greer right now sitting at home saying, I didn't want to extend them, that was Mike McDaniel. BS. All these guys wanted to keep Tua around. They all wanted to double down on that 2023 season.
We'll take a break here on Gameday Uncensored. Back with more for this.
I'm Jonah Gadjevich of the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to
1043 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Same great shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana. Get to our keys to the game here, brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Shop exceptional Cadillac offers now at the 3-time Cadillac Dealer of the Year, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Visit EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. You're always backed by Morse. The Buffalo Bills coming into this game. Some injury questions for them, Solana. They had James Cook. He was limited all week, but he should be good to go. That was announced this week by their head coach, Sean McDermott. The guys who are going to be out for them, AJ Epinesa, one time broke 2 of his ribs. He is not going to play this week, and they will not have linebacker Shaq Thompson.
Was that Jesse Davis? Was that Jesse Davis? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking too far back?
Nope.
Jesse Davis missed the block, right side. He was playing right tackle,
Yeah.
and Tua got lit up.
A true bum, Jesse Davis.
Yep.
Some of us call him OG Liam Eichenberg.
Funny enough, Omar loved him too.
He did. He really gets mad if I disrespect Jesse Davis, but he stunk. He was, maybe Larry Borum is better than Jesse or worse than Jesse Davis. I don't know.
It's funny hard. How like our season got to a point where Daniel Brunskill playing 15 snaps at tight end was like the best improvement Mike McDaniel's made all season long. Oh my God, Daniel Brunskill playing tight end. Let's go. Greg Dulcich.
By the way, you know what we haven't talked about? How about them just tossing Tanner Conner to the curb, huh?
Yeah, but then they signed him again. They brought him right back.
Right. So is that just because Rucci, they're just like, oh, he's a better blocker? Like, that's what they're going with there? Like, just after 3.5 years, we're done with Tanner Conner all of a sudden?
Hey, draft picks, be on notice, bro. If it takes you 3 years to finally make us notice you. By the way, it was the best season he's had as a member of the Dolphins. Not that it was a good season, but it's been the best season he's had.
I don't know. I just found that strange. I was like, wait, what do you mean they got rid of him? That,
isn't that like Chris Greer? Chris Greer has been like, no, that's my draft pick. That's my draft pick. I'm keeping Tanner Conner. He's gonna prove something. And McDaniel's like, hey Greer, this guy stinks, dude. Like, get rid of this guy, man. And finally they fire Greer, and Mike McDaniel goes, hey champ, you see that Tanner Conner over there? Cut his ass now. Put his ass on the practice squad.
No one's picking. He's like, what? Was somebody gonna pick him up? No one's gonna pick him up. Trust me. No one's gonna pick him up. Yeah. So the Bills fans are gonna be infiltrated. We saw this with the Ravens game. The Dolphins had issues with their snap counts, so be on lookout for that. But this is what Jordan Brooks had to say. The Dolphins' run defense has not been as piss poor lately, and this is what he had to say about it improving.
I just feel like you get what you emphasize. Having the guys that want to get better, having the coaches that want to get better, and that collective unit having the same mindset of attacking each day and figuring out how we can do that. And so we still aren't where we're trying to get to, not even close, but the improvement is there. And so each and every day, that's what we're emphasizing, stopping the run. And how can we get better here? How can we get better there?
Well, good luck today, dude, because you got a hell of a tandem to try and stop there between Cook and Josh Allen. We'll see if the defensive front can get it done for the Dolphins. And obviously they got a lot of injuries that they are dealing with going into this game.
Tobin, I am just a little interested in James Cook just to see like what he looks like because he's been banged up. And you know, in terms of whether or not the Dolphins defense is gonna take a stand at some point, like they got embarrassed on Thursday Night Football. The GM gets fired. Everybody's under trade rumors. Minka, Bradley Chubb. Like, are they going to take a stand at some point? I'm not saying I like the idea of them taking a stand in terms of like would I put money on it, But let's see what these dudes are made of.
Yeah, I don't know how great I feel about it either, just especially because who they're taking on. But we got to take a break. When we come back, the Dolphins inactives are out. We'll take a look on who's available for today's game, who is the backup quarterback for this matchup, and more as Game Day Uncensored rolls on after this.
I'm Davion Mitchell of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to
Favorite shows, the games of your favorite South Florida teams. We've got them. Catch us on FM 1043 or listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Don't miss a thing.
Now, let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 1043 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 1043 WQAM. Tobin and Solana here with you for about an hour plus more. Omar Kelly going to join us in about 20 minutes. We'll talk to Omar as he's boots on the ground over at Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins and Bills getting set for action. Let's get to our actives and inactives brought to you by JM Lexus. The December to remember is here at JM Lexus, a JD Power Dealer of Excellence winner for 5 consecutive years. Save up to $2,000 with no dealer fee now at JM Lexus. All right, Solana. Here's what we got today for the Miami Dolphins. Inactive, Ashton Davis, Rasul Douglas, Chop Robinson, still dealing with the concussion, Andre Carter, the second linebacker, D. Eskridge, and Julian Hill is inactive. Quinn Ewers is the team's emergency third QB. So Zach Wilson is your backup for today. And then the Bills inactives are a lot.
Yeah,
Joshua Palmer.
They're banged up, man.
Joshua Palmer inactive. Cornerbacks, Teron Johnson, Brandon Codrington, Shaq Thompson, Christian Benford, AJ Epinesa, and Chase Lunt are all inactive for the Bills. Any of those really stand out to you, Solana?
Yeah, I mean, Teron Johnson and Christian Benford, I mean, those are the Bills' two of their three best cornerbacks, and they're out. So, I mean, hey, Dolphins, Tua, Dolphins offense, let's go. Let's go. And all that means is we're just going to get more Devon Achane passes at the line of scrimmage.
You would think a game like today, like you got to force as many balls to Jalen Waddle as possible. Yeah, like if you're going to not trade him to the Buffalo Bills, by all means, please use him against the Buffalo Bills and not as some decoy because they're going to try and take him out of the game. You would hope.
No, I mean, they should. They should. Hey, you try to poach Waddle from us? Like, watch this. Watch how we're gonna have Waddle waddling in the end zone.
That would be nice.
But what's the approach here, Tobin? Like just balls to the wall? I mean, F it? Or is it more of a conservative, like, hey, we're gonna keep doing things the way that we've been doing? And because you have to imagine, like, the season's cooked. Why not just go out there and throw everything you have? I want to see ridiculous packages from McDaniel. I want to see trick plays. Like just throw everything you have at the Bills.
Yeah, I think that, what else do they have to do? I guess window dressing, but like, especially against this team in particular, like what do you have that whatever you've tried hasn't worked? So yeah, I would say you come out here, you air it out a little bit. The problem is, if Tua is like, just inaccurate and off the mark and they're just sitting there waiting for him to make a mistake just because, well, that's what he's just been doing lately. So I don't know what the sound thing is here. Even if you see all of those injuries in the secondary, it still might be prudent to just, run the damn football with this team.
F that, man. F that. Let's sling the ball. Let's sling it.
It's a dangerous game with him.
I want to run the football today. I want to sling it. I want to see this offense put up some points. They gave us 6 points last week, Tobin. 6.
They're not good, dude.
They couldn't get in the end zone. Let's go. Sling the damn ball.
Yeah, you sling the damn ball until Jordan Poyer is doing ayahuasca as he's skipping down the sidelines with your football. That's what you got going on for you in this one. Joey Bosa just using Tua as floss. And then, of course, you just got to, honestly, you saw what the tight ends did last week, and I know that they were put in tough positions, but that's just where they've lived and bred with the Bills is just go right to Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox and just chew up this Dolphins defense little by little. It's so annoying.
Sorry that you won't be able to put a Julian Hill anytime touchdown bet in today. I apologize.
I know. So what should I do? Should I throw one on Hayden Rucci?
I don't know. I don't know if the tight end is the play there. But it seems like hopefully Julian Hill gets back on the field at some point. Are we really going to end up ending the Julian Hill era without a touchdown from Julian Hill?
It's quite possible.
That would be a shame. I know he was trying to go this week. I see Omar tweeted that he practiced all week, but he just wasn't cleared. No Rasul Douglas is a bummer for me, Tobin, and obviously not having Chop out there. But you do have Jalen Wright, which means you're going to have all 3 running backs available to you. He's not on the inactives list. So McDaniel reverts back to that. And Taj Washington is active today also, right? I don't see him on the inactives list. He's not banged up. So that is interesting. They're gonna give this another shot. Taj Washington, who fumbled on the very first reception of his career.
That's tough. Yeah. You'd like to see if you can get the stink off of that. That's a tough one. By the way, right now in Germany, we have a close game between the Falcons and the Colts, but the Falcons surprisingly on top right now, Solana, 17-13. They had a strip sack fumble on Daniel Jones, and so that Falcons defense is humming a little bit today.
They are. I can't believe that the Dolphins lit that defense up, but bro, they're up right now 17-13 in end of the third quarter. Michael Penix has 8 completions. 8.
Jeez.
That's insane.
Bijan Robinson, 12 carries, 63 yards.
Yeah, like his numbers aren't. I was expecting him to have over 100 yards already. I mean, they're fine. They're good. But it's not like they're dominating with Bijan Robinson. And he didn't even have the touchdown earlier. They gave it to Algier. So it's just their defense, like keeping them in this game. And the Colts actually got a gift. Their first touchdown came with a Michael Penix strip sack, and then Jonathan Taylor just punched it in a couple of plays later. So I don't know. Colts lose this game. Are you feeling a little fraudulent alert from Indy?
I think we're all waiting for it, right? I think we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop with them. I don't know. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's been so good for them. Like, I do feel like they got that path. It's not the greatest division in the world, obviously. And, they still got, a lot of divisions. They got a lot of Jags and Texans in there to finish out the season. They'll have this tough go. They lose this game, then they got to go to Arrowhead next week. And they got at Seattle. So they got some tough games in there. But I think that in that division, they should still be in a pretty good position to still make the playoffs. But I don't know. We've all been waiting for the other shoe to drop on them.
If the Dolphins go undefeated the rest of the way, maybe they'll host the Dolphins for a playoff game, Tobin. Get a little revenge for week 1.
Jeez. Terrible. Yeah, and you know what the thing is, Solana? Like, I'm looking today at the not to jump into Porpus props, but I'm like looking at just the options now. It's just it really does feel like it's Achane, Waddle, and nothing. I'm looking at Greg Dulcich as the 4th highest odds to get a touchdown for the Dolphins at plus 325.
That's embarrassing. He wasn't on the team 2 weeks ago. Who's the third best? Malik Washington?
Ollie Gordon, plus 240.
So Malik Washington is under Greg Dulcich?
Same amount of odds.
That's crazy, man.
325 for Malik Washington.
That's crazy because, look, man, and part of it might be on us for just being delusional at the start of the season. But I genuinely had a lot of hope or promise built up on Malik Washington being a really good player. I'm not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill. Like, I realize that's ridiculous. But there's just so many different areas you can look at this team. And there was promise. Chop Robinson, there was promise. Aside from the front seven, just in general, like Zach Steeler getting paid. I had such high expectations for him. And Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright, I had high expectations for them. Malik Washington is one of those guys. And now he has the same odds to score a touchdown as Greg Dulcich, who wasn't even on the team 2 weeks ago, that half of you have probably never even heard of.
I didn't know who he was. I was like, who is that guy with the mustache and the curly hair? I was very confused.
Great flow. You got to give it up to him. Great flow, man.
He
Great
looks like
hair.
John Oates.
Yeah, real 80s vibe from him, especially with the stash.
Taj Washington today.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah.
Plus 2,000. Higher? Plus 2,800?
Plus 2,500.
Oh, my God. That's embarrassing, man.
Throw something on him?
Yeah, right. Even Tua has higher odds, right? Anytime touchdown?
Tua's plus 1,200.
Yeah. That's how you know. That's how you know you're not getting the ball. Tua has better odds to score an anytime touchdown than you. The odds makers think there's a higher likelihood of Tua rolling out of the pocket and putting his head down and going into the end zone, which everybody knows there's a 0% chance of that happening, than Taj Washington catching a touchdown today.
Maybe
That's
embarrassing. This is his bounce back. This could be his bounce back.
Aaron, are you buying the Bills? They beat the Chiefs last week. I mean, not to beat the Dolphins today, but just in general, are you buying the Bills this year to be a to be a Super Bowl contender. I know they have Josh Allen and they're always going to be in it, but like, are they better than they were in years past?
No, I don't buy them to be a Super Bowl contender. They just feel like they're a little bit too banged up. They feel very thin. I think when you see the reports that they're trying to bring in Quinnen Williams and they're trying to bring in Jalen Waddle, it feels to me like they know they're not quite good enough. So no, I'm not. I could see them winning a round. Maybe in the right matchups they'll get back to the championship. But do I think they'll actually get over the hump? No, I don't think so, dude. Do you?
No. Even though they beat the Chiefs last year, they're 5-1. Josh Allen's 5-1 in regular season games against Patrick Mahomes, and I fully expect them to just wet themselves once they go up against the Chiefs in the playoffs every single time. Their fan base was pissed off about how not active the Bills were at the deadline. I guess it's not for a lack of trying. Clearly, they're trying to take everybody away from the AFC East rivalries, but they didn't make any moves, and they're banged the hell up. Look, they're missing 2 of their cornerbacks today. Like, they're banged up.
Well, I think the thing is, though, if you're Brandon Beane and you're looking at this situation and like you got to call up divisional opponents, like you got to know that that's going to take a haul. Like you'd really have to sell whoever you're calling up, and it's like, all right, I'll offer the first a couple of years from now, but if you're gonna poach the Dolphins, you're gonna have to give like what they gave for Sauce Gardner. I'd feel like if you really wanted to get Jalen Waddle from the Miami Dolphins or Quinnen Williams, like even if you get, and it was said that they gave the best offer, but it has to be like you have to knock the socks off a divisional opponent because you're going to face those guys twice every year. So
they just own, like, the Bills own you. So on top of the fact that you can't beat this team and your era comes to an end after literally never narrowing the gap between you and Buffalo, now you're going to end this era by trading them your best player. It's just stupid. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's it would be a real tough look for the Dolphins to do that because you just know, like, you're basically solving one of their big problems with one of your guys. Like that would not have sat well with Dolphin fans. Not that anything is right now, but that, like, if you really just wanted to disgust everybody,
could you imagine? It would have been for the 30th pick and a bottom 3 first round pick, but it would have been for next year because the Bills are going to be one of the best regular season teams, and then a second round pick this year. But the same instance, like a late second rounder. There's nobody you're drafting this year and next year that's making Dolphins fans okay with Jalen Waddle not being here.
Especially kicking your ass every year.
Right.
Like, that's the thing is you got to take. He's like, yeah, you're giving him up. It's not only that you don't have him, but you're going to face him, and he's just going to annihilate you every single time you face him. No, that wouldn't have sat well. That wouldn't have sat well. I understand why the Dolphins couldn't have pulled the move. Even if they got exactly what they had wanted, even if it was a third and a first. And honestly, you make up the point about would it have been this year, and apparently that's part of it. The Dolphins wanted to be 2026. You're probably better off just punting it till 2027 because maybe just the Bills finally get to a point where they have a down year and then the pick's a little bit better. But still, you'd have to be so, like, you'd have to have the doors blown off you to make a trade like that. You'd have to. It just hurt too much.
You can't send him to Buffalo, man. You can't do it. You can't do it.
You can't do it. It's set up for disaster. But would you have been okay with that if the Dolphins traded away Jalen Waddle to the Bills?
I think that might have been like my final straw, like my last straw with the Dolphins. I think I would have officially switched, found a different team, and become a fan of a different team.
I don't even think I can blame her on that. Like, she's probably right. I think that probably would have been it. That would have been the death blow for a lot of teams.
To be fair, a reminder: Brittany is the youngest member of this show and only knows pain. That's it. She only knows pain.
25 years old, so that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, only knows the Dolphins. This is the first game. Tobin, think about this. This is the first game Brittany, as a 25-year-old, will watch a Dolphins game where Chris Greer is not a part of the organization.
Oof.
Yep. That's what I was just about to say.
Congratulations.
That's crazy. Yeah, congrats. You made it.
I made it. I made it.
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. When we come back, Omar Kelly, Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald. He joins us next.
I'm Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on his move to FM at 1043.
This is Game Day Uncensored on WQAM FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
The Buffalo Bills will be in Miami Gardens today to try and do what they've done for quite some time. Beat the Dolphins again. The Fins will have to step it up big time. Mike McDaniel on his message to Tua, who along with most of his teammates has been struggling.
It's not a secret sauce of anything. You don't need a secret sauce when someone's game that you're asking them to put forth is not only something they're good at, but something they've successfully executed on over time, and just bringing it back to the nuts and bolts of
And
football.
Tua says lots of frustration over all the losses to the Bills.
You know, we haven't beat Buffalo since the first year Mike has been here. So we look at this as like we got to win every time we play Buffalo. That's kind of how we look at it. I don't think you can look at it any other way. And for us as a team, you know, collectively this year, we got nothing to lose. We got to go all in with this.
Another game where it's not going to be easy for the Dolphins. And unfortunately, they failed almost every week this season. Can they get a win over the Bills? Well, we're here to figure it out on Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, Omar Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions in 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. By Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Tobin and Solana here with you as we get you ready for Dolphins and Bills, Week 10 of the NFL season. Bills Mafia, like a bunch of roaches, infesting our community, jumping through their dumbass tables. It is going to be they got banners flying over the stadium, Solana. That's what I mean. I can't believe this. What's going on with them?
That's the most disrespectful thing that a fan base can do on the road, right? Like fly a banner over the opposing team stadium. That's how you know they own you. They own you.
Yep. Let's talk to Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald, Omar Kelly, joining us there. Omar, how are you?
I'm fine, gentlemen. You know what the worst thing you could do is? You could actually talk trash with your banner. Like, hey, Ross, don't fire anybody. Keep things status quo. Sign Bills.
So just hey, extend McDaniel. Double down on Tua. So sad.
Everything's fine.
Keep up the good work, guys. We love it.
Yeah, we love it. Status quo. Sign Bills.
Unbelievable. I love the idea this week, though, Omar. I love the idea of bringing in Zach Thomas to run things. I mean, what are we doing here? You need somebody to trust. This man is a gem. Let's go. Enough of the nonsense. Enough of this dancing around it. Go get a legend who actually knows what he's doing and maybe gets a chance to build his own thing and cement his Dolphins legacy to win something.
Here's the thing. I think it would be hard to convince Zach to do it. However, I do believe if you present him the situation and say, do it for the franchise, he would feel out of sense of duty. He might do it. Same thing with Jason Taylor. I didn't just limit the options to Zach Thomas. And hell, if you want to give it to Dan Marino again, fine. My issue is I actually believe Calais Campbell would be excellent at the job. My issue is nobody inside this organization has any kind of football knowledge and experience. They're just pretending. And it's always been that way. Mike Tannenbaum, what experience does he have in football? Dennis Hickey, Jeff Ireland, I think he was a punter. These guys, and this is just not limited to the Miami Dolphins. This has been an old boys network, just like it was for African American quarterbacks, where they do not want to let former players into the clubhouse, because you know what? The former players will expose that most of you are frauds, and most of you don't know what the hell you're talking about in terms of evaluation. This is league-wide. This is a major league-wide issue. But, nobody talks about it because they have to protect themselves.
But Omar, what it sounds like you're saying, by the way, I talked with Crowder about what you had said about Zach Thomas. He said there's a 0% chance Zach Thomas is taking a front office role with the Dolphins. So I don't know, that's not from Zach. That was just Crowder telling me. And he said that on the air too.
Out of duty, if you said to Zach, hire everybody. After that, you can walk away. He'd do it.
Okay.
Lay the groundwork. Just please bless us with your knowledge.
And it's funny because a Twitter poster said something to me about Nick Saban. And I thought about it for a while. And even though we have this deep-seated hatred for Nick Saban, I would be fine with that as a top executive. You know why? Because he knows how to identify good coaches. He knows how to identify good players. He knows how to create a culture. Nobody in this organization has a clue. Nobody. And we've seen that for 18 years. Nobody. Not a drop.
Yeah, which is what I was going to get to, Omar, which is like, just bring football people in, even if they're not necessarily running the organization. Like, if Zach Thomas doesn't want to be a decision maker, right? He doesn't want to be a mover and shaker. Just being in and around the organization, I think, will help. Because what it sounds like to me, Omar, what you're saying is, which is what I've been telling Tobin all day, I don't want, okay, Chris Greer moves on, but you keep Mike McDaniel and you're going to find ways to keep Tua. And like, I want a complete top to bottom shakeup of everything inside that building. And the first domino had to be Greer, but moving forward, everything else.
I do not disagree with you. I think that you have cancer. Just let's have some chemo. Like, there's no unquestionable doubt that there is a culture problem here, and you've had a culture problem no matter who you put at the top of the organization. So something is wrong, and it might be you as an owner. And it might be this entitled mentality that you have, that you'll just buy them everything, and like spoiled little rotten kids, they just take it for granted. But let's put that to the side. One, Tua is going to get and is guaranteed $54 million. He's going to make 55 total, but $54 million next season. That's part of his contract. It does not move. It does not go anywhere, and nobody's going to take it from you. So if you think you're going to get rid of him and cut him and take a $99 million cap hit, you're crazy. So Tua is going to be here for 2026. You just need to stomach it, unless Kyler Murray in Arizona want to trade for him. You want to swap quarterbacks? Okay, well, sure, but Tua is going to be here. Nobody's going to shoulder a $55 million cap hit for Tua Tagovailoa, because that's a high dollar value. He might probably be the most expensive player in the NFL next year, because a lot of times you hear these salary figures and it's not what the guys are going to be paid in cash. This is his cash price. So put that, and it's just the final year of a guaranteed payout. So you've been paying him less for the first 2 years. This is the big payout day. But anyway, so you got to get over that. Mike, I think, will, despite what they've said publicly to their talking mouths of NFL Network, they have not decided to crappy anything on Mike. Because here's the thing. Do we even know if the team has quit on Mike? Do we have a clue? Because Ravens didn't look like a spirited, let's do it for the Gipper, or we're playing for Mike kind of effort. Well, you don't have a clue what you're going to see today. What's supposed it's 40-5.
Well, it's one of the things I'm confused about, Omar. Like when Chris Greer finally is gone, like it genuinely did shock me, because I didn't think he was ever going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel, because of how Stephen Ross handles the whole hiring process, did Mike win the power struggle? Like, did he win the blame game, or is he just finishing it out?
There is no power struggle. So that's the one thing I can tell you for certain, because I talked to people behind the scenes. It wasn't you know how many power struggles I've seen? Like 4. Like, there was no power struggles. This was a situation where somebody had to fall on the sword. Chris had been here the longest. Mike might still fall on the sword. He right now he's going to be given a 7-game audition to see if this team fights for him, if they quit on him. And right now, I don't want to hear any excuses. No Judy Hill, who cares? No right side of your offensive line, who cares? No Rasul Douglas, who cares? You've invested 3 years in Ethan Bonner. If a 3-year investment in Ethan Bonner does not produce a player who can play on the NFL game, you suck. Like, and it's the same thing with Tanner Connor, who got cut and put back on the practice squad. Do you realize when Tanner Connor was cut last week, he was the first player all season that 2-17 had released, and they were the only team in the NFL who had not released a player?
Wow. No, I did not read it.
That's the problem with Mike. Everybody's his buddy. Everybody is safe. And it's not a this year problem. This is a 4-year thing. They don't cut anybody. Nobody fears for their job around here. It's just part of the culture.
Do you think, since there's no Julian Hill, should I place a little something on Taj Washington bouncing back plus 2,500 for anytime touchdown today?
No. Don't. If I'm gonna put my money on anything, because I know you like these ridiculous bets. I'm going to put it on Ollie Gordon scoring multiple touchdowns.
Oh, you know what? I like that. All right.
Or Cedric Wilson scoring a touchdown.
He's still here?
Cedric Wilson scoring a touchdown.
Here.
Omar, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, wait a minute. There was a lot of talk with Cedric Wilson this week. A lot of talk. A lot of coaches talking. I think he might be getting more involved. You act like Tua's going to throw it to Nick Westbrook-Akine. You see him throwing it to Nick Westbrook-Akine? And when he does throw it, what happens?
The hell happened there, man? What the hell happened to Nick Westbrook-Akine? I mean, he was like our big get in the offseason. And
it shows you that they're just a laughing stock of a franchise in terms of evaluating talent. Like Larry Borum, like Nick Westbrook-Akine. Come on, man. Like, seriously? Look at your rookie starters. They're the worst players in the NFL at their positions. Like, what are we doing here?
Hey, Omar, what can we expect, though? Because you were saying, do we know if this team's given up on Mike McDaniel? And, like, realistically, in this game today, what can we expect from the Dolphins? Like, everybody just trying to put on a performance for themselves, and it works. They rally together as a team. Do they just attack Jordan Poyer on the offensive end and try to make him look silly? Like what do you realistically think that we can expect today? Because I was telling Tobin, man, just get weird today if you're McDaniel. Like, who cares, right? F it. Get weird to beat the Bills. Trick plays, packages that, were too silly to even make the playbook, but now you're like, F it.
Nah, you're just no. You got to play. Unfortunately, to beat the Bills, you have to play error-free football.
Stop! They're not going to do that, though. They're not going to do that.
Hey, they did it against the Falcons. They did it once. They could do it again. It could happen.
True.
It could happen. Will it likely happen? No, but it could happen. Look for today. Look for more of the 6th offensive lineman package, more of the jumbo. Look for Greg Dulcich, who clearly has leapfrogged his way to the top of the tight end depth chart after one game. Look for more utilization of the 2 backs, Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon. Look for can Ethan Bonner play, because he is going to have a target on his back. If you don't know why, you'll figure it out. He's the last of a dying breed. They were dead, actually. Look for these rookies, Dante Trader, Jonas Savania, Jordan Phillips, and Kenneth Grant. There's no more excuses. You played half a season. You should be experienced and ready to go right now as an NFL player. Look for that. Look for Tua efficiency. Tua just has to get back to who he is and be an efficient quarterback. That means no turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. Execute on third down. Score touchdowns instead of kick field goals in the red zone. That's who he's been for 6 years. And except for this season, get back to who you are as a quarterback.
Oh, what'd you make of the Twitter exchange you had with Tyreek Hill? What is his NFL future?
I don't know. I clearly got under his skin. Here's the thing. You guys know how I am. I'm a straight shooter. Tyreek suffered a career-threatening injury. That is a career-threatening injury, and it'll be one of the greatest stories ever in football history if he comes back from that. Look at what Alex Smith had to do to come back from his. And Alex Smith doesn't move. He's a quarterback. Tyreek is one of the fastest, most athletic, most mobile players in the NFL. I hope he comes back from that. But truth of the matter is, if he took out an insurance policy on himself, it might be more financially beneficial for him to not come back from that. Because insurance policies insure your contract for a full year. Tyreek makes $30 million a year. Do you think a Tyreek Hill will come back and make more than $30 million in his comeback?
I don't think so. I don't know. How do you determine the man who's just made a career of cutting on a dime and his knee was facing the wrong way? I don't know what to make of that. And I don't feel like he'd want to come back to play on a prove-it deal because he's the cheetah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it'll be a great story, and it'll be great. It'll be great for his Hall of Fame. Tyreek right now, 10 years in, he's probably a Hall of Famer. He's probably. Not a first round anymore, but probably. If your career ended now, it's do you want to come back and play for $5 and $6 and $7 million, or do you want to, if you had insurance, cash out on your insurance policy, get your, let's assume $30 million, maybe 20. Let's be conservative because, Tyreek does have 9 kids. He's clearly not into protection. Let's assume he has a small. Will he ever make that back in his career?
Probably not. No, probably not. But Omar, doesn't this just have Kansas City Chiefs reunion written all over it next year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just having that conversation 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be more complicated. Everybody wins. He gets to go back home with Patrick Mahomes. He gets to get right while not having high expectations, and the Dolphins get to move on. Everybody wins.
Nah. You don't rehab. You can't. If you ever come back and sign to an NFL roster, you're not eligible for your insurance. So he's got a tough decision to make. Knowing him, and that's why I'm sure he was a little bothered by what I tweeted. He's a competitor. Those type of competitors, they view everything as a challenge. I just challenged him. He knows how catastrophic his injury was. I don't even think he's walking right now. He knows how catastrophic his injury was. He knows the road that coming back, the road that's ahead from him. Okay, he probably needs a little motivation. Are you going to be playing again? Are you sure? Because last I heard, when you were talking to Teron Armstead, you were talking about retiring.
Sounded emotional about it too. I'm with you, Omar. I don't know, but I did like the fact that he said false alarm, that you actually know something. Once you said, "Oh, you'll be back in 2026." Good. He tried to douse the flames. Try to douse the flames.
I'm fine with the Flames. He's fine. I don't care. I understand what happened. I just challenged they're competitors. That's the one thing I know. You that the people, the Papa shot in the locker room, it was broken 4 times because the players shoot. We're in the locker room for an hour. The players might shoot 500 shots on that thing in an hour. They walk by going to the shower and it's everybody got to take 5 shots. It was such a, you could play jacks in the locker room, and these guys will be competitive for jacks. That's how professional athletes are. They are wired to compete.
Oh, I appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the game.
All right, guys.
There you go. Omar Kelly. Go follow his work. Miami Herald, Miami Dolphins columnist. Always appreciate him giving us time here on Game Day Uncensored. We'll take a break. More to come here on the program. Back after this.
I'm AJ Greer of the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to the FM dial at 101.
To find us, listen to WQAM on FM 1043 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. All of our shows are there live or on demand. Plus, there's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed anytime.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 1043 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 1043 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana here. And Game Day Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Brittany, what were you telling us during the Omar Kelly interview? You were watching F1 because you love F1. Yes, and what was happening that got you so giddy?
It was the most insane start to a race I've seen in a really long time. Everybody was crashing. Wings were flying off.
Wings?
Yeah, like their front wings. They have front wings. And they were just flying off. People were driving around with no wheels. It was a disaster class for sure.
So, like, are you done with the race, or do you get to go into another car when you crash? Like, how's that work?
No, you're done. You're done.
Right.
Yeah. So there has been already 2 DNFs, which like means do not finish. Like did not finish.
I know what that means.
Okay. I'm just making. Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mansplain, but I was just letting you know. So yeah, Hamilton is in last place. So
damn.
And one of the DNFs was Charles Leclerc, which is another Ferrari driver. So I'm not feeling too good as a Ferrari fan over here.
Tobin, I'm watching this, and Brittany, I am a big supporter of you trolling Tobin with your F1 fandom on the show. But I'm watching right now. I mean, there's one guy lost a tire, and that was pretty much it. That's all that happened there, Tobin.
You're lying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching it right now. There's chaos. Formula One, the F1 account posts chaos at the race start, and there was like two drivers collided with one another. One tire flew, and there was some sparks flying, and that's it.
No, there was more than just that. You're just thinking about one incident, which was the Charles Leclerc incident. That did happen, but someone got crashed into the wall. The Brazilian whose home race it is, he crashed into the wall. Hamilton got hit on both sides. His wing went flying.
This is the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Yeah, Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Is Jose Aldo there?
Who?
Okay. That's ridiculous. Anderson Silva. Let's move on.
It's funny how you go to like fighters, and I would immediately have made the Neymar joke or like the soccer player joke. You know,
where is Neymar?
Carlos there. Neymar's playing in Sao Paulo.
He is?
Yeah, he's back in. He tried the Saudi Arabia thing for a little bit, tore his ACL, actually playing against Uruguay, my home country, and then just never got back to like being healthy enough to play. So I'm like 99% sure he went back to go play for his boyhood club, which is Sao Paulo. Oh no, he's playing for Santos. Excuse me, Santos.
Shout out to the Pinks, by the way. They went 4-0 yesterday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Big time performance from.
So how does this go? How does this go now? This now we got just a one-off. Is it single elimination now?
Single elimination the rest of the way. So then the second round works the same way as NFL or NBA playoffs, where you've got the conference semifinal, then the conference final, and then the final. So they're in the second round, conference semifinal.
Right now we have the Falcons and the Colts playing in Berlin.
Did you see the Jonathan Taylor second touchdown?
Sure did.
Wild.
He's insane.
Insane, man.
He's insane. But the Falcons came back. They scored the next drive. Algier got his second touchdown of the game. They had the 2-point conversion, so they went up 25-22. As of right now, I got it on Gamecast right now, Solana. Do you have the game on in there anywhere? 25-22, 30 seconds left. It's 4th and 6. Colts have the ball. So they just called timeout. I would imagine they're about to, where are they? The Atlanta 26. I imagine they're about to tie this puppy up and go to overtime, I would think.
I'll pull the game up here and I'll
check that out. In the meanwhile,
here we go. The kick is up, Tobin. I don't know if you want the actual live update. The kick is up, and it's good. It's good. With 25 seconds to go, 25-25. We might have overtime overseas in Berlin.
There you go. Let us get to our Porpus props.
Let's go.
It's time for...
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Porpus props.
Hopefully you didn't jinx us.
Props.
Hesitant to go to Porpus props today because I'm very scared of this game. I'm not a person that likes to bet unders. I'm not a person that likes to bet against their team, and so been hesitant to go into this thing.
Right, but props, like I had a lot of people tell me, "How are you going to watch this game today?" I mean, what's the point of watching this game? The Dolphins are going to get rocked. Well, no. I mean, I'm going to put some a little change on this game. Props keep you glued to the game, so I'm all in, man. Let's go. Let's win some money.
Who do you like today as an anytime touchdown scorer for the Dolphins? Devon Achane is minus 155. He's plus 375 to score 2. Waddle's plus 140. Ollie Gordon plus 50. Omar likes Ollie Gordon 2 touchdowns. For those interested, that's plus 1750.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Malik Washington is plus 325. Greg Dulcich has now moved to plus 350. Jalen Wright plus 425. Nick Westbrook-Akini plus 450. Hayden Rucci's plus 1,000. Cedric Wilson's plus 1,100. Alec Ingold plus 1,300. And Taj Washington is plus 2,500, which is basically in the territory of all the defenders. Any of those guys tickle your fancy there, Solana?
I mean, look, I think Devon Achane is a lock to score every game, but minus 155 is kind of a steep price. Maybe you parlay that with something. You go Devon Achane, anytime touchdown, and you parlay that with Waddle over on receiving, over on receptions, or over on receiving yards, or receptions. 5.5 right now. Over 5.5 is plus 110. If you think the Bills are going to run away with this game, they're 8-point favorites today. That means the Dolphins are going to be throwing a lot to get back into the game. I like Waddle over 5.5 receptions at plus 110.
Who do you like anybody to get a sack today for the Dolphins? I mean, you got no Chop Robinson. They just traded Jalen Phillips. Bradley Chubb's plus 175. Is Quentin Bell back with the team? Is that who they're going to go with? I mean, Zach Sealer doesn't have a sack all season. Kenny G, he's plus 400. I don't know. I'm not really feeling the defensive parlays in this one. I feel like I'm going to be chasing my tail with nobody catching Josh Allen.
I don't like it. I think they're going to run the ball a lot today with James Cook too. So I don't like it, man. I really don't.
Anybody on picks? Any interceptions you like? Minkah Fitzpatrick is plus 1,200 to get a pick.
I tried to do this, so you were out for the Thursday night football game, and my game ball prediction was Minkah Fitzpatrick. Hey, Minkah's going to come out, big time game. He's a big time player. Thursday night football, he's going to have his big performance finally in a Dolphins jersey. The second go around, and guess what? First quarter, he's running into Dante Trader, and they're both on their ass while the Ravens tight end is walking into the end zone. So enough with Minkah. I'm not putting any money on him.
Devon Achane's over-under on rushing is 61.5. Ollie Gordon is 17.5. Any shot that he breaks one for 20 or gets over the 20 mark?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, Tobin. It's possible. I'm riding with Riley Patterson over 1.5 field goals made. Again, that's hit every week, and it's at plus 125. So I'm riding with that until I don't get it. Every week I'm putting money on that. I think you're muted, Tobin. Sorry to hit you with more kicking props, but I mean, I'm sticking to it, man. Let's go.
I just saw a prop they have on here for Tua to record 6 or more rush attempts plus 3,000.
What's his over-under?
3.5 yards.
That's tough. I don't know if I would put money on him going over 3.5 yards against the Bills. He got it last time, though. When they played in Buffalo, he did get it. He hit the over. It was at 1.5, but he had more than 3.5 yards. I think he had 6.5 in that game.
Achan's receiving is only 29.5. I feel like he's going to hit that easy.
And the over on receptions is at 5.5. I feel like he's going to get that in the first quarter because that's all we do. We just throw passes at the line of scrimmage, little outs to Devon Achane. We probably should be focusing on the Bills a little bit more. I know we don't want to, but I mean, if we're talking anytime touchdown, James Cook, Josh Allen is as sure of a lock as it gets. No?
Yeah, I would think so. If you wanted to see, you know who I think is going to kill us is the tight ends. Like I feel like it's going to be with Kincaid or
Kincaid.
I can't tell them apart. Unfortunately, I don't know who's who. Kincaid or Knox. It's hard for me to tell. I get more value on Knox.
Kincaid's been scoring touchdowns, though. By the way, the over-under in this game is set at 50. So, I mean, they think points are going to be scored. Not a lot. It's not going to be a shootout, but it's also not going to be a grind, a defensive slugfest.
As long as the Dolphins can take care of the football, which is that's a big if. They just don't take care of the football. So if they take care of the football, I would agree with that. I think that we would be in for scoring. It's just Dolphins and taking care of the football is a bit of a crux. They're not very good at that.
You think they keep it close today, Tobin?
Yeah, again, that goes to, if Tua takes care of the football, I think it's close. If he doesn't, as long as he can keep it to one pick, I think it's a decently close game. If it's a snowball game from him, then no. But I think if they played straight up, I think this will be a pretty close game because I do think I think the Bills will win because they always win. But I do think that there's a world where the Dolphins can keep this close. But typically, Salon, I will say, it's gone the way of this the last 3 years. It's usually gone one close game, one ass kicking. That's usually the way it's gone. But it would be, like you've said, this would be so Dolphins for the Dolphins to win the Bills game in the most meaningless time of the season. Like you have nothing to play for. This will make you 3-7. It'll have no juice to anybody, and you just be like, wow, now you win that game. The only thing that would make it fun is people would start doubting the Bills, I guess, somewhat. But I think, the problem with the Dolphins is I could say that, and then I sit on my couch, and then the first play is Tua getting, strip sacked or getting a terrible pick, and I'm just like, well, should have seen that one coming.
Giving us hope at the absolute most inopportune time, though. Very, very much in accordance to what my entire Dolphins fandom has been about.
That is Porpus Props. We'll take a break, predict the game ball on the other side. Back with more after this.
I'm Tyler here of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQ
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Welcome back, everybody. Game Day Uncensored here. Tobin and Solana. Let's get to our player to watch, which is brought to you by your Southern Lexus dealers. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is going on. Get offers on select models for a limited time. Learn more at Lexus.com. Solana, let's predict the game ball here today. The Dolphins win. Who gets it done for them?
I'm looking at the last time the Dolphins beat Buffalo, or at least, it was the first time they had done it in 7 years. Remember that game in 2022, Tobin, where Josh Allen at the end can't get the hike off, and you win 21-7-19. That's the game where Tua had Waddle on a 3rd and 22 right before the half. You were down, I think it was like 17 or 14-10 or something like that. Anyways, all this to say, what an effing game. But you made big plays, and that one to Waddle was a big play. Now the Bills come here. They try to poach Jalen Waddle from you.
Yep.
Hey, get Waddle the damn pigskin today. Let's go. Get him the Duke. Whatever else I have to call it. Get him the football today.
So Waddle's your prediction.
So Waddle, yeah. It'd be funny if I said no, actually, Greg Dulcich. Greg Dulcich is my prediction. No, but yeah, Jalen Waddle's my game ball today. If the Dolphins are going to win, I need a big Waddle game.
By the way, I'm like trying to figure out what the hell happened to Daniel Jones. I see all these pictures on Twitter of him having a bloody mouth. Did he get like knocked right into the gridiron? He looks like a psycho. That's crazy.
Looks like he's wearing lipstick.
Yeah. Brittany, predict the game ball. Who do you think gets it? The Dolphins win today. Who was the reason for it?
I know this is like a layup, easy answer, but Devon A-Chain, I just think that he is this team. He is the team's offense. And yeah, if we're going to win, it's going to be a couple touchdowns from Devon A-Chain.
I like it. I'm going to go with Jordan Brooks just because he has no time for the nonsense. He seemed really pissed after last game. And then he was really pissed about being asked about the Papa shot. And I just feel like he is locked in. I think he's also like, how come nobody wanted to trade for me? So I think that he is going to be locked in. I could even see him pulling off maybe a turnover here or there. I think Jordan Brooks is in that mode here today if the Dolphins are going to get it done.
I like that. What about Bradley Chubb, Tobin? You don't feel like he's a little upset? Nobody traded for him. They tried. I'm sure there were offers, but the Dolphins ended up not moving him. You don't think he's a little pissed off about the whole situation? And he's like, hey, somebody get me out of here next year, please.
Maybe. I mean, he certainly is going to have a little bit more of a burden on his shoulder. I do think it's funny that he was like, yeah, Jalen Phillips was so upset to be gone. And Jalen Phillips is sitting here being like, no, I'm not. Super happy. Super happy. Greatest thing that's ever happened to me. My best friend now is Jalen Carter. Kick rocks Bradley Chubb. Never liked you. So maybe that's something that he's feeling right now. I can't rule that out. It's a complete possibility there for the Miami Dolphins. He's gotten off to a nice start. I don't, even for the numbers of sacks that he has, I just don't feel like he's had a super impactful season. Am I crazy to say that? Like, I know that some of the numbers are there for him, but I just don't feel like Bradley Chubb is imposed his will. I know he's coming back. This is his first full season off of some injuries, but I don't know. I don't sense that he's going to wreck the game like that.
No, but you know what it is, Tobin? It's that, you go back to 2023, their sacks, him, Jalen Phillips, they clinch games. End of a game, they had like the big momentum swinging play, or they forced a fumble that put the Dolphins in a good position, or they literally had the game-clinching sack where that's it. Brought the quarterback down, it's over. And there hasn't been that situation this year. You haven't. Like, you've had good QB pressures from Jalen Phillips. He had the opportunity to clinch the game by bringing down Justin Herbert. Guess what? He didn't get it. And Bradley Chubb, it's the same situation where I'm not pinning any of the losses on him, but in a situation where the Dolphins desperately needed a big-time play, there hasn't been the big-time play. Nobody's made that play outside of Jack Jones keeping the Jets from a touchdown on the goal line, which came in the first half.
Yeah. You know, it would be nice if our friend Zach Sealer, who you got to spend some time with this week, if he took the inspiration from the children and was able to get a big time sack. That would mean something to me.
Yeah.
If he could get that done.
Yeah. I do love Zach Sealer. I'm watching a Bills fan jump through a table in the East parking lot right now. Cam Wolf posted the video.
True idiots.
Just total idiots. So they had him spin around like a little baseball bat, to get him dizzy. So now he can't walk. He's dizzy. And then 2 Bills fans pick him up and then just slam him on a table a couple times until the table breaks.
Yeah. Dudley Boy style. It's crazy. I mean, I don't think that's how they make themselves dizzy. I actually think that's how a Bills fan activates its brain. I think that's how it gets it going. It stirs it up a little bit. By the way, the Falcons punted, and currently the Colts are driving. Got a 23-yard pass from Daniel Jones, 7-yard run from Jonathan Taylor. They're right now at the Atlanta 25, so they're set up for a game-winning chip shot, basically, if they want it.
It's 3rd and 2 right now. They're going to give it to Jonathan Taylor one more time, milk some more clock, and they're going to knock in a field goal. Colts are going to win this game.
Man, what a season they've had. What a season they've had so far this year. Really impressive.
Another example, quick turnaround, man. You just got to make the right decisions. Quick turnaround.
Right. No, absolutely. I think if you would have asked me, I would have pegged him for a last-place team this year. Daniel Jones, are you kidding me? But, solid line. They make the big move. They make the big swing for Sauce Gardner this week. Big onions trade for them. I even think it's a little I'm like, that's a little too much. I saw the quote, though, that Carly Ursay had where she's like, you want a short-term fix, a Band-Aid, or do you want to fix this thing long-term? And I was like, man, she's batting 1,000 right now with the moves. Yeah. Who's cooler than her right now in the NFL? Nobody.
Hey, Tobin, I mean, they've got the elite running back leading the NFL in touchdowns, has 2 more touchdowns, might get a 3rd one right now. They've got a great receiver, right? I'm not saying he's the best receiver in the NFL, but a really good receiver. And then they went out and they got an elite cornerback to add to that defense, which has been really good this season. They've got some really good pass rushers. Their offensive line seems to be solidified, and they just hit a gold mine in the draft with a solid tight end.
Solid tight end.
I mean, that's how you do it, man.
Dude, the idea that we have not 1 but 2 teams in recent memory having their war rooms erupt in laughter and celebration because of people the Dolphins have passed on. This happened with Penei Sewell and the Lions, and this happened with the Colts drafting Tyler Warren because the Dolphins took Kenneth Grant. And I hope Kenneth Grant ends up being good. He seems like a good dude. But Omar mentioned it. The fact that the Dolphins draft classes are basically all the worst, not even anybody just making an immediate impact. Pretty brutal. And by the way, Jonathan Taylor, touchdown run, finishes off the Falcons 31-25 monster game by the star Jonathan Taylor.
Somebody put a flyer on Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdowns or more in this game, and they are losing their minds right now watching that play.
Who was Jonathan Taylor after? Was he after Igbenogany?
Was that same draft?
Just to, let's just, if we're gonna have salt in the wound today, feel like he was.
Let me double check. I think because I remember he was there for us, but I can't remember if that was it. Yeah, it was the 2020 draft. It was a 2020 draft, Tobin.
Yeah, awesome. Well, what are you gonna do? At least the bad man is gone.
He was taken in the 2nd round, 41st overall of the 2020 NFL draft. The Dolphins didn't they have a second? They had multiple seconds that year too, right?
I am seeing them. They took Robert Hunt. Yes, they took Raekwon Davis that year too. Neither guy making a second contract.
That's crazy.
In fact, yeah, the three picks nearest Jonathan Taylor didn't make a second contract, and Austin Jackson did. And have you heard him? I haven't seen him. Where is he?
Yeah.
New Teron Armstead.
I haven't seen him. Yeah, the Dolphins took Robert Hunt 39th overall, and right behind that was 2 picks later, Jonathan Taylor, 41st overall.
All right. Well, I'm done torturing myself for today. Thanks for everybody for tuning in to Game Day Uncensored. Dan Day, he will have Game Day Uncensored post-game edition for you guys starting today at 4 o'clock. So tune in to Dan Day. He will take your calls live here on WQAM. And, of course, you guys will be able to hear us tomorrow. Joe Rose gets us going at 6 o'clock. Myself and Leroy tomorrow from 10 to 2. And then Hockman, Crowder, and Solana from 2 to 6. Everybody enjoy the football. And we will talk to you guys early next week. I believe it is a 7 a.m. start for us for Game Day Uncensored for the Spain game, Paella and Pigskin.
Yeah.
So get up early with us, fire up your Cafe Bustelo, and we'll be all set to go to get you ready for Dolphins and Commanders. But task at hand, Week 10, Dolphins and Bills. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of another Game Day Uncensored pregame show. Dolphins hosting the Bills.